recording, start the game. Oh, I guess this bit isn't necessary. That's fine. Okay, so Control Function Alt down. There we go. Let's empty this. Turn up the volume. Start the game. Okay. Blue player versus red computer. Let's try that. All right, so now I want to read the manual. I did this yesterday for 20 minutes and then I realized it wasn't recording. So I'll start again from the beginning. So we got introduction, game overview, how it highlights stuff that's, I guess, changed in 2.7. Game interface, version 2.7 changes. Design your scenarios. Okay. Designer notes, hints, FAQ, tactics 101. Okay, so this seems like the stuff that should be more at the beginning, but all right. Game overview. Okay, let's start with the introduction. Introduction. Decisive Action is a realistic, tactical simulation of modern division and core level combat. It is not a game for the casual or beginner wargamer. The unique military feel of Decisive Action sets it apart from any previous commercial wargame. Based on an earlier computer game designed by the designer to teach tactics at the U.S. Army Command and General Staff College, Decisive Action models all 7 battlefield operating systems: maneuver, fires, intelligence, air defense, mobility and survivability, that's one thing, command and control, that's another single thing, and logistics. Decisive Action simulates the fluid nature of modern maneuver warfare and the importance of the art of command. To be successful, each player must adroitly synchronize all of his resources and focus them against the decisive points on the battlefield. The game replicates the friction and fog of war that still resides on the information age battlefield through its system of simultaneous movement and the double-blind approach to modeling intelligence. Okay? Initially, you may find the game design very challenging, since it breaks the mold of traditional wargaming. However, with careful study of this user manual and continual practice, you will feel very comfortable with the game system in a short period of time. The game offers players a wide variety of playing options. Players may assume the role of either the red or blue commander and fight a computer opponent, challenge a friend to a play-by-email game, or hot seat a game on a single computer. Although the computer opponent is tough, your true skill as a tactical commander can only be tested against a live opponent. The powerful game editor empowers you to build almost any modern scenario you can imagine. You can use the 6 included terrain databases and tactical maps, or you can import your own BMP JPEG image to create your own terrain database. The unit editor and scenario editor permit the user to set the environmental conditions and build any modern force in the world today. Cool. That's very cool. The weapons editor allows you to create or modify existing weapon systems. Also very cool. So like basically this could be used to model the current war in Ukraine. That's my understanding of what he's saying here. To help players better understand the nature of modern combat, the Decisive Action CD contains electronic copies, PDF format, of 4 key U.S. Army manuals: Military Operational Graphs and Terms, Division Operations, Intelligence Preparation of the Battlefield, and Tactics. Through careful study of these references, players will quickly grasp the key concepts necessary to use decisive action to its fullest potential. With this game, both experienced military personnel and civilian gamers will gain great insights into the mechanics of modern ground tactical warfare. Decisive Action's use of military graphics, terms, and maps, and its unique replication of division and corps combat operations and military processes such as intelligence preparation of the battlefield, makes it the wargame of choice for military professionals and serious students of modern warfare. System requirements, installation instructions, okay, done with that. Game overview. Game scale. Game scale. Each terrain square is 1 kilometer in size. Terrain is modeled for movement and combat. Each game turn represents 1 to 2 hours of time. So this scale is the same as Panzer campaigns. In Panzer campaigns, each hex is 1 kilometer, and a turn is 2 hours of time. Icons generally represent brigades and battalions. Specialty companies and platoons are also replicated. Okay. Gameplay. Decisive Action is a turn-based game that uses a unique double-blind approach, hidden units, and simultaneous movement to replicate the fog of war and friction that exists on a modern tactical battlefield. Each game turn is divided into 11 phases. These are A, the planning phase. Players assess the situation, adjust their plan, and issue all orders. During this phase, the player attempts to visualize the battlefield, see the enemy, see friendly forces, and see the terrain, while staying focused on mission accomplishment. Although the terrain representation and friendly situation is accurately depicted, the player will only see those enemy forces that have been identified through the Friendly Intelligence Collection Plan, represented by the location of friendly named areas of interest, direct contact with the enemy, or through signals intercepts. The next player action following the planning phase is dependent on the type of game being played. Player versus computer. If you are playing against the computer, press the advanced timer button to complete the resolution of the game turn. Player versus player, hot seat. Each player can take his or her turn planning and issuing orders. When the first player is done, he should exit to the main menu. The second player can then take his turn. When both are finished, exit to the main menu and press the advanced timer button. PBM game. Follow the instructions contained under the Help PBM instructions menu. Procedures will vary based on the player side and game turn. Multiplayer. Follow the instructions contained in Appendix A for joining or hosting a multiplayer game. AI planning phase. During this phase, if your opponent is the computer, the AI commander assesses the situation, adjusts the AI developed plan, and issues all orders. Okay. NBC, Nuclear Biological Chemical Check. All units remaining in areas containing persistent chemical agents will suffer additional losses. C4ISR, Command, Control, Communications, Computers, Command, Control, Communications, Computers, Intelligence, Surveillance and Target Acquisition, and Reconnaissance phase. During this phase, initial intelligence and electronic warfare activities and command and control checks occur. Electronic warfare and PSYOPs attacks take place. Units that are affected adversely by these checks or attacks will suffer a reduction in movement and or combat capability for the remainder of the turn. Fires phase. All planned artillery attacks, airstrikes, and engineer operations are conducted. All planned artillery attacks, airstrikes, and engineer operations. Artillery attacks, airstrikes, and engineer operations are conducted. Each turn, the computer randomly selects which side initiates these attacks first. Combat losses, suppression effects, and morale losses are immediately assessed. Okay. Movement phase. The computer cycles through 300 movement pulses and moves all units simultaneously. Movement pulses. I haven't encountered that before. Every unit does not move during each pulse. Instead, units move during various pulses based on their mobility type and length of their movement route. Aviation units that enter enemy ADA range will be engaged during the movement phase. Ground units that enter an enemy ground unit's footprint during movement will stop immediately. It is important that players watch for enemy movement during this phase. Enemy helicopters and UAVs may be briefly visible as they transit the battlefield, even if they are not engaged by ADA. This type of observation may be an indicator of an enemy air assault. This seems strange to me because I would expect there would be like a log of these things, so you don't have to just watch out for it during the replay. That seems weird. G. Ground combat phase. All ground combat takes place. Results are immediately displayed in the message box. Okay. Since ground combat takes place simultaneously, individual losses are not deducted until all ground combat is finished. Reset phase. Unit status is checked and routine adjustments are made to units. Logistics phase takes place. Reset phase. Unit status is checked and ground combat phase. All ground combat takes place. Results are immediately displayed in the message box. Since ground combat takes place simultaneously, individual losses are not deducted until all ground combat is finished. Okay. Reset phase. Unit status is checked and routine adjustments are made to units. Logistics phase takes place during the planning phase in version 2.7. Okay. Reinforcements phase. Designated units arrive at their planned arrival location in accordance with the reinforcement schedule. Reinforcement. Okay. Victory conditions phase. The computer determines victory status. At the end of the final game turn, the computer will display all information about both sides. Okay. I get it. Okay, next. Game screen, right? I have this right? Game scale, game play, game screen. Yeah. Okay. Game screen. Number 1, game menu. Selected commands can be accessed using the menu. 2, command buttons. 3, message box. The message box performs 2 critical functions. It displays information about the active unit, and it displays combat reports. During the planning phase, each time the player accesses a unit, the message box displays information about the unit that helps the player better understand that unit's current status. During the execution of a game turn, combat reports flash across the message box. Depending on the type of game, player versus player or player versus computer, information may be filtered to prevent players from reading each other's reports. Some reports are only briefly displayed while the turn is being played out. However, during the next planning phase, the sitrep can be used to review all friendly reports and enemy signals intercepts from the previous game turn. Friendly reports, okay. Game turn, I wonder if that includes like spotting enemy UAVs. And anyway, game turn is number 4, that's this blue one. Displays the current game turn. The box is blue and the sun is displayed during daytime turns. The box is black and the moon is displayed during nighttime turns. Okay. Number 5 is time. Displays the current military time using a 24-hour clock. Number 6 is the date. Displays the current date. Number 7 is the wind direction. Displays the direction that the wind is coming from. Number 8 is the terrain classification window. It displays the type of terrain located beneath the mouse pointer. Number 9 is the chemical classification window. Indicates the presence of persistent chemical agents located on the terrain directly beneath the current position of the mouse pointer. Number 10 is the unit status box. Number 10, okay, this is the green rectangle. It displays the unit name, mission, combat effectiveness, and logistics status. Name is the first line, mission is the second line, combat effectiveness is the third line, and logistics status is the fourth line. Okay. The color coding reflects the status. Green is no problems, yellow is some problems, red is significant problems, and black is serious problems. And number 11 is the current unit, the current active unit. Activate a unit by either clicking on it or pressing the next last unit button within the player menu. Don't know what the player menu is. The following information is graphically depicted for each active unit. The unit footprint is shown as a black circle. Okay, that's that black circle there. Unit facing, red lines drawn from the center of a unit to the edge of its footprint depict the frontal facing of the unit. So I think that there's like a thicker red line that you can see there. That's my guess. That's what they're talking about. Minimum range circle. Okay. Number 12, minimum range circle. Oh, that's on this image. Is it? No, it's not. Inner red circle with crosshatch. Oh, okay, that's this one, number 12. Displays the minimum range for some weapons. The area that selected weapons cannot engage targets because it is too close to the weapon. For example, ADA, artillery missiles, and rockets. I think that's supposed to have a comma after that. So artillery, comma, missiles, comma, and rockets. Okay, got it. Got it. Number 13, the latitude-longitude window displays the current position of the point beneath the mouse in latitude, longitude. Okay. Number 14, UTM grid window. If active, it displays the current position of the point beneath the mouse in UTM grid. Okay, I don't know what that is. Maximum range circle, number 15. The maximum weapons range of some units, for example, artillery and ADA. Map window. ADA is air defense artillery, so it's like anti-air, SAMs, stuff like that. Map window shows the entire map area. Navigate the map. Oh, that's number 16. It should have a number 16 here. Shows the entire map area. Navigate the map within the viewport by clicking your mouse within the smaller map window. Got it. Unit icons. Unit icons represent battalions, brigades, specialty companies and platoons, and headquarters units. Okay. You can access a unit by either clicking on its icon or by pressing the next or last unit button. Accessing a friendly unit enables you to review all current information and issue orders to the unit. Your ability to access an enemy unit and obtain information about Your ability to access an enemy unit and obtain information about that enemy unit is a function of the amount of intelligence that you have collected about that unit. A. Unit footprint. The unit's footprint is represented on the game map by a black circle with diagonal lines surrounding the unit icon. The footprint indicates the volume of space occupied by a unit and is influenced by its direct fire weapon systems. Although the combat indicator is drawn from unit icon to unit icon, center of mass of the unit, it is representative of the entire force within the footprint engaging an enemy force within its footprint. Got it. So, right, okay. The size of a unit. So all they're saying here is that you're going to have these two circles. When you have one unit shooting at another unit, you're going to have two circles, and the line is going to go from the center of the first circle to the center of the second circle. But that line represents the entirety of the first circle, or I guess maybe whatever portion of the first circle is able to shoot at whatever portion of the second circle it can see. Anyway, the size of a unit's footprint is a function of its size and its strength. Got it. Interactions with a unit's footprint facilitate various actions within the simulation. Ground combat occurs when footprints between opposing forces overlap. As a unit suffers losses, its footprint shrinks in diameter. The shrinking footprint represents the consolidation that occurs in a unit that has been attrited and the corresponding difficulty that the attrited unit has controlling its original battle space. During gameplay, this makes for some interesting effects. Strong attacking units can eventually penetrate a defense and bypass weakened defending units. Interesting. Listed below are the maximum and minimum diameters of the unit footprints. Brigade size has a maximum diameter of 20 kilometers and a minimum diameter of 12 kilometers. A battalion has a maximum diameter of 10 kilometers and a minimum diameter of 6 kilometers. Is that maximum and minimum based on attrition, or can you like change formations to make them bigger or smaller? A company has a maximum diameter of 5 kilometers and a minimum diameter of 3 kilometers. That seems large for a company. I've played combat mission scenarios where you'll have a company go down a single street in a city. You'll have multiple companies. Each company takes a street as you advance through the town. But I don't know. Maybe these are different. Maybe they're not just infantry companies. Maybe they're like armored companies. I don't know. Platoon is, and maybe this is like open ground. In a city, it would be different. I don't know. That's interesting. This is an interesting thing to learn more about, think about. Anyway, a platoon has a maximum diameter of 2 kilometers. That seems huge for a single platoon. And a minimum diameter of 2 kilometers. That's huge. That's a huge footprint for a platoon. I mean, I'd say in combat mission, you'll have an infantry platoon with a footprint of, gosh, I would say you want to keep things 25 yards away from each other, 25 meters away from each other. So you'd have 3 platoons, 25, 25, 25. Yeah, that's like 100 meters, 200, like less than 200 meters. And they're saying 200 kilometers, they're 2 kilometers. It's huge. Anyway, maybe it's a different kind. Maybe it's not an infantry platoon. The overlapping of footprints between friendly units during movement retards their movement. Okay. This represents a realistic aspect on the battlefield of a phenomenon known as friction. Units suffer losses when their footprints overlap with artillery fire and chemical attacks. Any unit whose footprint overlaps with an enemy named area of interest or overlaps with their opponent's footprint becomes visible to their opponent. That's interesting. That's weird. All you have to do is just put down this thing and you get like a free spotting of units in that area. That seems abstracted. Very abstracted. Okay. Interesting. I should note all of these things that seem weird to me. I mean, I guess it makes sense if he has limited ability to code the how it actually works. It's a simple abstraction. Anyway, units assigned a mission to perform security have their footprints represented by 3 circles versus 1. Okay? This reflects the purpose and nature of security missions, protecting the main body by providing early warning of enemy advance. This is accomplished by spreading the force across a larger area, usually in a linear fashion, and using indirect and direct fires as necessary to slow the enemy's movement. Although this one security mission does not adequately differentiate the nuances of the 3 U.S. Army doctrinal security tasks, cover, guard, and screen, okay? In 2 years of gameplay at the Army Staff College, field-grade Army officers preferred this simpler approach, okay? Unit range circles. Weapon ranges, maximum and minimum, are marked by 2 red concentric circles. The area between the open circle and the circle with the intersecting diagonal lines is the area that the weapon can fire. Note, surface-to-surface rockets and missiles have significant minimum ranges. Okay? The effective range of intelligence and electronic warfare sensors and PSYOPs effects are marked by a purple circle. The sensor range circle is only visible if the sensor or PSYOPs operation is active. Okay. The sensor range circle is only visible if the sensor or PSYOPs operation is active. Okay, got it. Unit type. Icons represent a unit of a particular type. The basic types are ADA, anti-tank. Okay, this is going to be in the same order. So this is ADA, anti-tank, armor. This is not artillery. This is mechanized infantry. Or no, this is cavalry. Aviation, lift and attack. This I don't recognize. I guess this would be a lift. This would be attack. I don't know. Yeah, this is not in the same order. Oh, it's numbered here. Okay. Aviation, lift and attack. Logistics, engineer, IEW, ground and aviation, headquarters, infantry, mechanized infantry, military police, NBC, smoke, PSYOPs, reconnaissance, special forces, and unmanned aerial vehicles. The unit types, with some exceptions, are the official military symbols for friendly and blue, enemy red, friendly blue and enemy red units. Since 1997, diamond-shaped icons have represented enemy units. Operational terms, FM Field Manual 1-2, Operational Terms and Graphics, is the Army's primary reference for military symbols and terms. When color is available, blue represents friendly graphics and red represents enemy graphics. So number 1 is Air Defense Artillery, ADA. 2 is anti-tank. 3 is armor. 4 is armored cavalry. 5 is light cavalry. Okay. 6 is attack helicopter. Interesting. Okay. 7 is aviation. 8 is electronic warfare aviation. Interesting. 9 is unmanned aerial vehicle. Okay. 10 is light infantry. Okay. 11 is air assault infantry. Okay. 12 is mechanized infantry. Yep. 13 is combat engineer. I recognize that one from Panzer campaigns. 14, and also the anti-tank one I first saw in Panzer campaigns. Anyway, 14 is bridge engineer. 15 is artillery, also used in Panzer campaigns. 16 is self-propelled artillery, okay. 17 is rocket artillery, okay. 18 is electronic warfare. 19 is military police. 20 is special forces. 21 is psychological operations. Okay. 22 is nuclear, biological, chemical. 23 is logistics. 24 is command post or HQ. 25 is line of communication. Okay, don't know what that is. D, unit size. The symbol at the top of the unit icon indicates its size. 1 dot is a squad. 3 dots is a platoon. 1 line is a company. 2 lines is a battalion. 1 X is a brigade. 3 lines is a regiment, which is equivalent to a brigade in size. That's not the case in the Civil War. So that's interesting. An interesting change in usage. 7 is a, or sorry, 2 X's is a division. 3 X's is a corps. Combat power. The combat strength of a unit is reflected by the value of its base combat power and its current strength. Each unit's combat power is relative to other units of a like type. For example, an infantry brigade with a combat power of 40 is twice as powerful as an armor battalion with a combat power of 20. The categories of combat power are maneuver, artillery, air defense, and attack helicopter. I don't understand. Maneuver. Oh, okay. Okay, so even though this is infantry and this is armor, they are of a like type because they're both of type maneuver. You know, unlike, combat mission, you would think of one as infantry, the other one is armored. Here, they're both maneuver. And then you have artillery, air defense, and attack helicopter. Okay, interesting. Mobility. Each unit is rated for one type of mobility: foot, wheeled, tracked, or aviation. The speed that each unit maneuvers across the map is a function of its mobility type, the terrain, enemy contact, and friction as it passes through friendly forces. Okay? Logistics. Each unit expends logistics points during each game turn. Okay? The amount of logistics that is used is a function of unit type, mobility, and activity. When a unit's logistics level reaches 0, it cannot move or fight. Okay? Other unit attributes. Each unit is also modeled for other characteristics such as morale, fatigue, suppression, and command and control. The levels of each of these attributes can affect movement and combat. Okay? Morale, fatigue. These are both separate. These are separately modeled in Scourge of War or Take Command. Suppression. Suppression is modeled in Combat Mission, but not in Take Command. And command and control. This is also modeled in both Take Command or Scourge of War and Combat Mission. Okay, got it. Next. Right? I went to the bottom. There was nothing else. Yeah, nothing else. All right, 2.5. Terrain modeling. Terrain types. Each square kilometer has the attributes of one of 9 types of terrain. The terrain types are unrestricted, restricted, I don't know what those two mean, severely restricted, I don't know what that means, impassable, river. Okay, so I guess restricted just means, so it's like in Combat Mission where you'll have like open terrain, you'll have scattered trees that vehicles can pass through, but they pass through slowly. Severely restricted would be like another level above that. Impassable would be like in Combat Mission, you have woods that tanks cannot go through in the first CMX1, the first generation of the games. Okay, river, deep water, bridge, beach, and urban. So river versus deep water. I guess deep water is like ocean, and river, I'm guessing, is like not as deep. So it could be bridged over, maybe. Anyway, bridge, beach, and urban. Okay. Beach, interesting. And urban, got it. Terrain type affects movement rates and combat. Okay. Although a unit's footprint can encompass many types of terrain, the terrain located directly underneath the unit icon dictates the type of terrain that the unit occupies for game purposes. Oh, interesting. So this is a big abstraction here. Interesting. This could be gamed, for sure. For sure. That's interesting. Yeah, that I would want that to be improved in like a new version of the game. Anyway, the first three terrain types, unrestricted, restricted, and severely restricted, are the official terrain types used by the Army to classify terrain for mobility during IPB. I don't know what IPB stands for. Let's Google that. No, not that. IPB. Intelligence preparation of the battlefield. Got it. So it's like, yeah, got it. The general definition for these terrain types is units moving across unrestricted terrain can do so without any restriction to movement. Restricted terrain hinders movement to some degree and forces units to periodically adjust their speed or tactical formation in order to maneuver through rougher or denser terrain. Severely restricted terrain severely hinders or slows movement in combat formations unless some effort is made to enhance mobility. Okay. Although the Army doesn't ordinarily associate survivability with these three types of terrain, Decisive Action automatically assigns greater defensive value to each of these three terrain types as they decrease in mobility. Terrain effects on mobility. The order of terrain mobility from fastest to slowest is unrestricted and beach, restricted and urban, severely restricted and bridges, rivers, trafficable only if the unit can conduct an assault crossing, impassable, trafficable only by foot mobile units only. Okay, interesting. Unfordable water, impassable for all ground units. Note, terrain type does not affect aviation movement. Terrain effects on combat. The order of protection that terrain provides defending units during combat from least to greatest is rivers, bridges, and beaches. Rivers, bridges, and beaches. Okay. Unrestricted, restricted, severely restricted and impassable, urban, and fortifications. Okay. Elevation. Decisive Action version 2.0.3 abstractly models elevation in a very simple manner. There are two levels of elevation, 0 and 1. Simple elevation modeling was added in this latest version of the game to replicate the terrain masking that low-flying aircraft use in order to reduce their exposure to enemy ADA. Yeah, for sure. Okay, next. 2.6, movement. A, general. All movement during the movement phase is simultaneous. Units move along planned routes at a rate of march dependent on unit type, mobility, MOP level, that's their like preparation for NBC warfare. So it's like wearing gas masks and stuff. Battlefield friction, unit effectiveness, command and control level, and terrain type. Battlefield friction occurs when friendly units pass through one another's footprint. As in real life, passing through a friendly unit in decisive action takes additional time. Movement planning. To plot a unit's route, select the Plot Movement node and right-click at various waypoints along the unit's planned route. Movement nodes may be adjusted by left-clicking and dragging and dropping the node. Be adjusted. Okay, got it, adjusted. To cancel the route, press the Cancel Movement button. Hint: to minimize battlefield friction and use of game resources, use as few nodes as possible. Okay. Magic movement and off-map movement. During game setup, game turn 0, and within the scenario editor, the magic move and place unit off-map buttons are accessible to the player. To use these features, select the desired unit and right-click to magic move the unit or press place unit off map to place it off the game map. So this is like combat mission. In combat mission, during the setup phase, you can move units immediately within a designated setup area. However, in combat mission, you cannot select units to be moved off the map. That's an interesting feature. Note: all movement commands must be entered on the map with a right-click of the mouse. D. Changing unit facing. When units move, they automatically face the direction of movement. To reorient a stationary unit, press either the face right or face left buttons, and the unit will adjust its current facing by 45 degrees in the desired direction. Okay. 2.7. Air assault operations. A. General. Air assault operations conducted behind enemy lines are high-risk, deep maneuver operations that should only be attempted if the enemy air defenses along the flight route and at the landing zone have been heavily suppressed or destroyed. Unless the air assault is a raid with the intention of recovering the force by another air assault, unless the air assault is a raid with the intention of recovering the force by another air assault, a feasible planned link-up with ground forces is necessary. Oh, okay, so an air assault is when you land ground units via helicopter. Got it. In decisive action, only infantry, towed artillery, engineer, and logistics units can be air assaulted. Got it. Air assault planning. To plan an air assault, first plot the movement of the lift helicopter unit. Okay. Ensure, spelled incorrectly, I don't think you, well, maybe you can spell it with an I. I don't think that's right. I've always seen it spelled E in this context. Anyway, ensure that movement nodes are located next to, on the assaulting ground unit pickup zone and at the planned LZ. Next, press the Select PZ button and follow the directions. Okay, PZ is pickup zone. Select PZ button, got it. Afterwards, you will be prompted on what actions to take to finish planning the air assault. Hint: use cargo helicopters to move logistics convoys forward quickly. Logistics convoys. That seems weird. Can you use a Chinook to, like, lift a 5-ton truck? I've never heard of that. Use cargo helicopters to move logistics convoys forward quickly, or to units that are isolated from the main body. This simulates aerial resupply or the establishment of forward arming and refueling points, FARP, for attack helicopters. Got it. So, okay, so maybe you can't do it in real life, but you're simulating something that you can do in real life. Got it. Conduct airlift. Select the lift unit, and plot a route to the pickup zone. Plot the pickup zone waypoint on the unit you plan to transport. Okay. Number 2, continue plotting a route to the landing zone. Remember, you can plot as many waypoints as you like. In other words, you don't have to go directly from the pickup zone to the landing zone. You may decide on a more detailed route with several waypoints. 3, continue plotting a route to where you plan to land the aviation unit. Okay? At this point, all you are doing is plotting the route for your lift unit. 4, after you've plotted the last waypoint, select the pickup zone icon, arrow pointing up. Okay? 5, now click on the waypoint you would like to designate as the pickup zone. Notice the pickup zone waypoint is now green instead of white. A dialog box will appear prompting you to select a unit to be transported. Okay. In the selection box, choose a unit to be transported. Note sometimes the unit you want to transport will not be listed. Simply cancel and go back to the unit selection box and select the right unit. What does that mean? Cancel and try again? Okay. Click the waypoint you want to use as the LZ. Notice the LZ waypoint is now green instead of white. Okay. 7, click OK and your mission is plotted. This completes the process. Okay, simple enough. 2.8, combat modeling. Ooh, is this a long one? Maybe I'll do this as a separate video. How far am I into this? Oh, this looks like a long one. Let's see how long. Opportunity fire. That's not that long. Seed, counterfire, direct support, airstrikes. I think this is a good one to do as a separate video. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. Logistics, game interface. Design scenarios, hints. Okay. Let's do that. I'm going to do that as a separate video. Okay, close this. All right, I'm ready to have another go at this. So this is this. Control function alt down. There we go. Okay, help. Oh, what's the about? Okay, it's just the version. Keyboard commands. Oh, that's useful. Combat mission has this. Fleet command has, or, quick reference. Fleet command has a quick reference. That's useful. Okay. Help. Manual. So I finished 2.7. Next up was 2.8. Let's see if I can get through the rest of section 2. Section 3 doesn't seem that relevant to me. So I think after section 2, I'll go to this designer notes, hints, FAQ, tactics 101. I might do that in like a third video. Depends on how long it takes to get through the rest of section 2. All right, combat modeling. Decisive Action models 10 forms of combat: ground combat, artillery, airstrikes, attack helicopters, air defense, air interception, chemical warfare, intelligence and electronic warfare, and engineer operations. Okay, so it doesn't model biological warfare or nuclear warfare. Fair enough. Combat resolution is different for each combat model, but all 10 models are based on complex attrition models that consider many factors such as unit combat power, type of unit, size of unit, type of terrain, command and control status, logistics status, type of tactical operation, morale, fatigue, etc. The measure of a unit's combat power within the game is based on its relative strength compared to the least effective unit of a like type, which is assigned a value of 1. Okay, I get that. Example: ADA Battery, Avenger, combat power is 1. ADA Battalion, Patriot, combat power is 8. Note 1. ADA combat power is applicable to air defense combat only. The Patriot Battalion is not as effective in ground combat as an M1A2 company, which has a combat power of 2. Okay, got it. If you decide to design your own units, develop a baseline value for each type of system, for example ADA, and compare all other systems' effectiveness to that baseline system. Okay. Note 2. The combat powers of the units within the Decisive Action database are generally derived from the relative combat powers used at the Command and General Staff College. In order to make the CGSC values easier to use, I increased their values so that the player would not be dealing with very small numbers. For example, M1A2 Battalion in Decisive Action has a combat power of 14 versus the CGSC value of 1.21. Okay, easy enough. 2.8.1, Ground Combat. General. Ground combat occurs automatically at the end of the movement phase. Any unit whose footprint overlaps with an enemy unit footprint will exchange fires with that enemy unit. Units will engage and receive fires from every unit that they are in contact with. Okay, that's helpful to know. So if it overlaps even a little bit, it's all of the units in the first one against all of the units in the second one. That seems to be what it's saying here. I was wondering about that. I thought, well, if they overlap just a little bit, maybe it's just the proportion that they overlap that fight each other. Will engage and receive fires from every unit. Well, does that mean every unit that they overlap with? Maybe that's not saying what I thought it was saying. Maybe this is just saying that they engage and receive fires from every unit for which they have an overlap. But it's not. Yeah, that might be what it's saying. Okay, exception. Units on security missions or conducting a retrograde operation will routinely retreat after exchanging fire with only one unit. Ground combat results. The results of ground combat engagements are affected by many factors, such as attacking unit relative combat power, RCP, maneuver advantage, flank or rear attack versus a frontal attack, morale, suppression levels, C2 levels, and that's command and control levels, fatigue, terrain, unit mobility, and unit types. Ground combat between units is considered simultaneous, and losses are not assessed until the end of the combat phase. Okay? Artillery combat. General. There are 4 types of artillery missions within the game. Direct support, GS, opportunity fire, GS seed, suppression of enemy air defense, and GS counterfire. I don't know what GS stands for. Each of these has inherent advantages and limitations. Skillful use of fire support assets will dramatically influence the maneuver plan. Note, although the 4 non-doctrinal terms used to describe the types of artillery combat simulated in Decisive Action are a combination of fire support missions and support relationships, they accurately reflect the intent behind each game command. Okay. Not sure what that means. He's saying that although I feel like I understand this 50%. Okay, anyway, back. Okay, opportunity fire. GS, opportunity fire. Players can assign artillery units in the GS opportunity fire rule 3 targets per turn. To assign a target, press the Fires menu button and then click on the location of the planned target. Okay? Click on the location of the planned target. Is that a location and not on the unit? Okay. Next, press the Field Artillery button and select the desired type of munitions. All available artillery units that can range the target are in the GS Opportunity Fire role, are supplied, and do not already have a planned target are listed. Select the desired fire support unit to complete the mission. To cancel a target, press the Cancel Target button and click on the desired target. Placing a fire support unit in another role automatically cancels its planned targets. Players can also plan pre-planned targets on active targeted areas of interest. These targets are only fired when an observed enemy unit of the correct type enters the TAI during the movement phase. To create these on-call targets, plot a target on a friendly TAI, check the link to TAI box, and select the desired TAI from the pull-down menu. Okay. Next, select the desired target type. Finally, complete the rest of the targeting process. Fire missions not allocated can be used in general support. Oh, GS is general support. Okay. For any friendly ground unit subordinate to the same HQ as the artillery unit. In principle, it could use all 3 fires in this manner. Each artillery unit gets no more than 3 fires total per turn from the combination of interdiction and reactive support fires. Okay. Assign fire support GS opportunity fire role to a field artillery unit. Okay. Click on the artillery unit you wish to place in GS opportunity. On the toolbar, click on the blue or red unit status report button. In the unit status report window, select the fire support task, GS opportunity fire. Okay. Close the unit status report window. This completes the process. I don't understand. What is this? How is this different from what I... Oh, I see. So it's saying you can assign an artillery unit to this role and at the same time assign it a particular target. So it's two different, it's like contradictory missions, right? Like because you have opportunity fire, which would be, not a pre-planned, is it? Oh, no, 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 wait. So maybe it's opportunity fire against certain designated targets. And you need to both assign the target and also assign the role. I think that's what it is. Right. So this heading should really be called assigning a, this should really be a subheading called like assigning a target, and this one should be assigning a role. I think that's what it is. Yeah, I get it. Fire missions not allocated can be used in general support for any friendly ground unit subordinate. Okay. I think it'll start to make more sense when I actually start playing around with it. Plot interdiction fire. To assign a target, press the Plot Target button on the toolbar. Click on the location of the planned target. Select the desired type of munitions and the desired fire support unit to complete the mission. Okay. All available artillery units that can range the target are in the GS opportunity fire role, are supplied, and have fires remaining are listed. This completes the process. Okay. That seems like a repetition. Fires menu. That's oh. I'm a bit confused about how this information relates to this information. And is interdiction fire the same as opportunity fire? It sounds, I mean, I would think it is, but it's not totally clear. Okay. Plot triggered interdiction fire. Link to TAI. Click the Plot Target button on the toolbar. To assign a pre-planned target, click on an active TAI. Click the Link to TAI checkbox. Select the desired munitions, type of target, and the desired fire support unit. Okay. All available artillery units that can range the targets are in the GS opportunity fire role, are supplied, and do not already have a planned target are listed. This completes the process. Cancel target. Select the cancel target icon on the toolbar. On the map, left click on the target you wish to cancel. This completes the process. Okay. I think it'll make more sense when I start using it. Press the fires menu button, then click on the location of the planned target. Yeah, this seems like it should be redundant. Okay. So I think if I'm understanding this correct, interdiction fire is not triggered by is not necessarily triggered by the presence of enemy units. You can just have it anywhere. I think I'm understanding this right. So interdiction fire, that's going to just go out. It doesn't, and it might hit something, or there might not be anything there. You're just telling the artillery to shoot at a particular location with the hope that you will catch something. And that is the same as this. And then this is the triggered interdiction fire. I get it. Okay, I get it. Pretty sure I get this. Okay, seed. Seed. There are 4 types of seed mission modeled in the game. Planned, planned reactive, priority, and on-call. Planned takes place at the beginning of the turn versus a spotted enemy ADA unit with a seed marker in its footprint. Highly effective. Planned reactive is versus an enemy ADA unit that fires on fixed wing air while a seed marker is inside its footprint. Bad for the target. Bad for the target? What, the target of the ADA or the target of the artillery? I'm going to guess that's bad for the aircraft. A seed marker. I don't know what that seed marker is. On call. On call is fired against an enemy ADA unit that fires on fixed wing air but does not have a seed marker in its footprint. Not very bad for the target. Don't know what that means. On call is fired against an enemy ADA unit that fires on fixed wing air but does not have it. I don't know what this means. Bad for the target, not very bad for the target. The target of what? The target of the ADA unit or the target of the artillery? Okay. Priority is fired against enemy ADA that fires on friendly priority marked aviation. Equal effectiveness to planned reactive. Okay. Okay. I get that. Players designate pre-planned seed targets by placing seed markers on the map. Each seed marker has a radius that can be viewed by clicking on the map. During the initial fires phase, units in the seed roll will automatically engage any spotted ADA units whose center of mass lies within the area covered by the seed marker. Players remove seed markers by clicking on the Cancel Target button and then clicking on the seed marker. Each side can place a limited number of pre-planned seed markers based on the constraints of each scenario. Okay. Can you place them every turn? Based on the constraints of each scenario. Pre-planned seed. It sounds like it's something that you would do at the very beginning of the scenario, and you wouldn't be able to do any more. Like in combat mission, they have the target reference point. You can place it during the setup phase, but then you cannot place it after that. Pre-planned seed takes place during the movement phase of the game. When an aviation unit or a cast strike are attacked by any enemy ground unit, when an aviation unit or cast strike are attacked by any enemy ground unit, a check is conducted to see if any friendly fire support units in the seed roll can engage the attacking ground unit. Interesting. I mean, even infantry, that's weird. So, like, if an infantry unit starts shooting at a helicopter, the artillery can automatically? Are they simulating the helicopter, like, calling for help? Because I figured the way it would work is you'd have, like, radar, and you would see the missile going out of the ADA unit, and that's how you would spot it. All right. Since the planning for on-call seed is not as detailed as the planning conducted for pre-planned seed, the fire support unit's attacks are not as effective. However, all on-call seed fires take place prior to resolution of the ADA attack. Although the lethality effects are not as great, there is still a high probability that the seed attack will suppress the ground unit, reducing its effectiveness against the air unit. Okay. Got it. So you might not, if you don't place your pre-planned seed properly, and you have to use the not pre-planned one, you may not destroy the ADA unit, but you can reduce its effectiveness. Understood. Players may assign priority seed in support of specific Army aviation units, but not CAS. If a unit that has been assigned priority seed is attacked by an enemy ADA unit, then a seed mission will be executed, provided there are friendly artillery units in a seed roll within range of the enemy ADA unit attempting to fire, and the ADA unit has been spotted. Okay, understood. Assign fire support GS seed roll to a field artillery unit. Click on the artillery unit you wish to place in GS seed. On the toolbar, click on the blue or red Unit Status Report button. In the Unit Status Report window, select the Fire Support task, GS Seed. Okay. Close the Unit Status Report window. This completes the process. Okay. Plot pre-planned seed target. Assign a GS Seed Fire Support task. On the toolbar, click the Seed button. Left-click the desired location on the map to place a pre-planned seed target. This completes the process. Assign a GS Seed Fire Support task. How do you assign a Fire Support GS task? I don't know what that means. This is the target. What is the task? In the previous one, is this a task? This is target. How do you assign? What is a task? Don't know what that means. We'll have to figure it out. Cancel pre-planned seed target. Select the cancel target icon on the toolbar. On the map, left-click on the seed target you wish to cancel. This completes the process. Assign priority seed. Select a helicopter you wish to assign priority seed to. On the toolbar, click the priority seed button. The unit's footprint will turn purple. This completes the process. Okay. Cancel priority seed. Click on the unit you wish to cancel priority seed for. On the toolbar, click on the priority seed button. Okay. Understood. Yeah, there should be like tutorial missions teaching this stuff. 2823, counterfire. D, counterfire. Although Decisive Action does not model counterfire radar, it does abstract its effects to support counterfire operations. Friendly fire support units placed in the counterfire role automatically attack enemy fire support units spotted through one of two methods. Critical friendly zone. A CFZ is used to protect an asset whose loss would seriously jeopardize the mission. To designate or remove a CFZ, players access the protected unit and click the Plot CFZ button. Enemy fire support units whose fires land within the footprint of a unit that has been designated as a CFZ can be located and engaged by friendly fire support units placed in the counterfire role. Okay? Well, why wouldn't you do that for every ground unit? What's the trade-off? Call for fire zone. A CFFZ is a zone used to identify and attack suspected and known areas where enemy fire support assets are positioned. Enemy fire support units who fire out of a CFFZ can be spotted and engaged by friendly fire support units placed in the counterfire role. Players can view the footprint of a CFFZ by clicking on the CFFZ. Players remove CFFZ by clicking on the Cancel Target button and then clicking on the CFFZ. So is this something you can change every turn? Sounds like something you can change. I'll have to play around with it. Counterfire takes place immediately after a spotted enemy fire support unit is detected. Final detection for all counterfire missions is ultimately a factor of each side's counterfire target acquisition accuracy. Okay, well, how is that determined? Counterfire target acquisition accuracy is the percentage chance that the opponent's artillery will be located when it meets the criteria for detection as a result of a CFZ or a CFFZ. Each fire support unit placed in the counterfire role can fire twice during a game turn. Okay, well, how is this determined? Assign fire support GS counterfire role to a field artillery unit. Click on the artillery unit you wish to place in GS Seed. On the toolbar, click on the blue or red Unit Status Report button. In the Unit Status Report window, select the Fire Support Task GS Seed. Fire Support Task. Oh. Fire Support Task. Oh. Assign a fire support task. It's assigned. Okay. So I think what that's saying here is, I think that's what this is saying is, assign the GS Seed fire support task role to at least one artillery unit. I think that's what this is saying. That's confusing because they're using the term role in some places and the term task in some places, right? I'm not imagining that. Look, fire support role. Yeah, this should be task. Okay, got it. Opportunity fire task. Yeah, this should they got to stick to one term. It's either role or it's task. Okay. So this is assigning the task retreat parameters. Yeah. Okay. Got it. Designate CFZ unit. On the map, locate the unit you wish to assign a CFZ. On the toolbar, click the Designate Remove CFZ button. The unit's footprint will turn purple. This completes the process. Remove CFZ from a unit. Okay, click on same button. Sure. Plot a CFZ target. Click on the Plot CFZ button. Okay. Left click the desired location on the map. And then cancel. Click Cancel Target. Click the counterfire target you wish to cancel. Got it. Okay. Next, direct support. How many sections are in here? Let's look at this again. Direct support, and then a whole bunch of more. Okay, cool. Direct support. E, direct support. Artillery units are placed in direct support to a maneuver unit by attaching the fire support unit to the maneuver unit, done within the maneuver unit's orders menu. Direct support artillery units automatically fire at all enemy units that come into ground contact with the supported maneuver unit or its subordinate units prior to the resolution of ground combat. This enhances the effects of the subsequent ground combat. Got it. Assign direct support artillery unit to a maneuver unit. On the map, locate and click on the maneuver unit you wish to assign direct support artillery. On the toolbar, click on the blue or red Unit Status Report button. Why is it blue or red? I don't understand what that... Why is it sometimes blue, sometimes it's red? And why does this one say red, but it shows a blue one, and this one says blue, and it shows a red one? It doesn't make any sense. Click the Attach Forces button. Okay, this one. Select the unit you wish to aggregate. Okay. Close the available units by clicking the X. Okay. Close the unit status report window. This completes the process. Remove a direct support artillery unit. On the map, locate and click on the maneuver unit you wish to remove, for which you wish to remove direct support artillery. On the toolbar, click on the blue or red Unit Status Report button. In the Attached Units area, locate the unit you wish to remove and click on it. Close the Unit Status Report window. This completes the process. Got it. Easy enough. Airstrikes. General. Airstrikes in Decisive Action represent all air-to-ground fixed-wing aircraft attacks. These include close air support and interdiction used to support friendly ground units in close contact with the enemy and or in an interdiction mode. Used to attack the enemy lines of communication and assets. Note, there are no bomber missions in version 2.7. B. Airstrike planning. All air missions are planned and managed through the Air Tasking Order Planner, or ATO Planner. The ATO Planner is a more realistic model of how actual air assets are controlled and managed. To bring up the ATO Planner, click on the ATO Planner menu item. Okay, this was the new thing that I saw that wasn't in version 1.0. And I thought, well, what is this new thing? So it's cool they made something even more realistic. Okay, number 1, create mission. Allows you to create either a CAS or interdiction mission. 2, cancel mission. Allows you to cancel a mission. 3, print ATO. Allows you to print the ATO. What does that mean? Like on a piece of paper. 4, mission queue. Spelled incorrectly. shows information for each planned mission. Okay. TOT, T-O-T, when the mission will take place. Number/AC, the number of aircraft assigned. Okay. Type mission, CAS or interdiction. Target information. CAS missions show unit being supported. Interdiction missions show type of target. Okay. Location. Latitude and longitude location of the target or unit being supported. Got it. Mission data is number 5, okay, over here on the right. Allows you to specify different aspects for each strike. TOT, or TOT, when the mission will take place. Okay. Mission type, CAS or interdiction. Target type used for interdiction missions. Available sorties, how many sorties are available. Assigned, how many aircraft to assign, always done in pairs. Supported unit, used for CAS missions. Okay. Plot interdiction, used to plot interdiction missions. Okay, so I'm guessing that as you click on each of these different missions, this part updates, and this is how you update the different entries. Plot CAS targets. On the menu bar, click on the ATO Planner menu item. Click on Create Mission. In the Mission Data area, go to TOT and select a time on target. Go to the mission type and select CAS. Assign the desired number of sorties. Go to the supported unit drop-down list and select a unit to support. This completes the process. Note, clicking on the mission in the mission queue, again, spelled it this wrong in the same way, will display a CAS icon near the supported unit. Okay. Number of sorties. I don't know how to manage that. Available. Okay, so you have a limited number of sorties. So is that per turn? Or is that per day or what? I'll have to find out. Okay, plot interdiction targets. On the menu bar, click on the ATO Planner menu item. Click on Create Mission. In the Mission Data area, go to TOT and select a time on target. Go to the mission type and select interdiction. Assign the desired number of sorties. Click on the Plot Interdiction button and click on the desired location on the map. This completes the process. Note, clicking on the mission in the mission queue will display an interdiction icon over the desired location in the map. Okay. Cancel CAS or interdiction. On the menu bar, click on the ATO Planner menu item. In the mission queue, again, he spelled it wrong the same way. Life before spell check. In the mission queue, click on the mission you wish to cancel. Now click Cancel Mission. This completes the process. Okay. Attack helicopter combat. General. Attack helicopter combat occurs automatically during the movement phase of a game turn when the helicopter locates an enemy target within range of its weapons that matches one of its 2 attack type criteria. Matches one of its 2 attack type criteria. Okay. B. Attack helicopter attack planning. Plot a movement route for helicopter to the target area, designated by a TAI symbol and back. Select the Unit Orders menu and select 1 or 2 high payoff target priorities for the attack helicopter unit. If no attack priority is assigned or the route does not pass within range of a TAI, the helicopter will not engage targets. Okay. Attack priority. Attack priority is assigned. How do you assign attack priority? Maybe that's further below. Pre-planned attack helicopter mission. Okay. A pre-planned attack helicopter mission allows you to link an attack helicopter unit to a specific named area of interest. Okay. The trigger to launch the pre-planned mission is for the specified target type to move through the linked named area of interest. Okay, I get it. So this is like you're setting something up. It's like a trap. You're setting this trap, When they move through the NAI, the trap springs and the helicopter goes out to go get them. A pre-planned mission allows for a quicker response by the attack helicopter unit, since it already knows what target it will engage during a turn. For example, normally you would wait until you've acquired a target, then plan a mission to attack it. This process takes 2 turns. It takes 1 turn to acquire the target, and then a second turn to plan the mission. With a pre-planned mission, you can acquire and attack the target in the same turn. E. Attack by fire positions. A, B, C, E. Attack helicopter units can now be assigned an attack by fire, or ABF position. What's that? Is he going to talk about what that is? Yeah, he does at the back. Okay. Okay, plan attack helicopter attack mission. Click on the attack helicopter unit conducting the attack and click on the blue or red unit status report button. Select 1 or 2 high payoff target priorities for the attack helicopter unit. Okay. Close the unit status report. Target priorities. I guess that's these 2 drop-down boxes. So you have to select at least 1 drop-down box, but you can select 2, both of these. Okay. Plot a movement route for helicopter to the target area, designated by a TIA symbol, and back. If no attack priority is assigned or the route does not pass within range of a TAI, the helicopter will not engage targets. I guess it has to go through the footprint of the TAI. I don't know how big these TAIs are in like kilometers. All right, well, we'll figure it out. Play around with it, see how it works. Pre-planned attack helicopter attack mission. Click on an active named area of interest and note the NAI number displayed in the message area. Click on the attack helicopter unit conducting the attack and select the Unit Orders menu button on the toolbar. Select 1 or 2 high payoff target priorities, then click the Link to NAI checkbox. From the NAI drop-down list, select the NAI you wish to link to, Step 1. Step 1? What does that mean? Oh, the one that you created in Step 1. Or, yeah, okay, the one you identified in Step 1. Got it. Close the unit status report. 3. Plot a movement route for the helicopter to the target area, designated by a TAI symbol, and back. If no attack priority is assigned, or the route does not pass within range of a TAI, the helicopter will not engage targets. Okay, this completes the process. The attack helicopter unit will wait until the appropriate priority target type is detected by the NAI, in this case NAI 66, before it executes the pre-planned attack mission. Version 2.7, assign attack helicopters an attack by fire position. 1. Ensure that the attack helicopter unit already has a route plotted. 2. On the toolbar, click the Assign ABF position, attack by fire position, okay? 3. Click on a movement node to designate it as an ABF position. It will turn green, indicating that it is an ABF. Note the ABF position will activate the helicopter. A TAI is not required. This completes the process. Okay. Activate the helicopter. What does that mean? Activate. Okay, I don't understand what the ABF does. I mean, this is indicating that the ABF is equivalent to the TAI in like effect, right? Will not engage targets. So I think what that's saying is that when it says activate the helicopter, it means it will have the helicopter start engaging targets. The ABF position is a position at which the helicopter will engage any targets that come within range. Something like that. Got it. Okay. Next. Air defense combat. Air defense combat occurs automatically whenever an airstrike or helicopter unit flies within range of a ground unit. Okay. Of any ground unit. Seed missions fired by the opposing side always take place prior to airstrike resolution. Successful air defense degrades the effects of airstrikes and attack helicopter operations. Okay. Airstrikes that have been disrupted also result in air losses. Helicopters that suffer high casualties will abort their movement or attack and fly to their final location. Okay, they'll fly directly to their final location. I mean, that could take them over dangerous territory. I don't know. But this is an old game, so maybe they will. It's the broken, silly AI. Okay, 286, air interception. Whenever airstrikes take place, let me look at this again. Within range of a ground unit. I think that means like an ADA ground unit. I'll have to test that. Okay, air interception. Whenever airstrikes take place or helicopter units are flying, there is always a chance the air unit will be intercepted by enemy air superiority assets. The likelihood of interception is determined by the air superiority factor, the percentage chance of interception for each scenario. Okay. Successful air interceptions result in air losses to the defender. The air superiority factor can be adjusted within the game editor. Note, 100% air superiority doesn't mean that enemy aviation will never get through. However, the odds are very small that they will. Okay. 287, chemical warfare. A, general. Decisive action only supports the delivery of chemical agents by artillery units. Both persistent and non-persistent agents are modeled. Within the game, persistent agents will not drift outside of the target square, but the contamination will last for most of the game. Non-persistent agents will drift well beyond the target square, but will evaporate within the same game turn that they were employed. Okay? B, chemical attacks. Units that are in MOP 4, full chemical protection, when a chemical attack occurs, or whose footprints overlap with contaminated squares during movement in MOP 4, will suffer negligible casualties. All other units will suffer casualties and automatically upgrade their posture to MOP 4. To change a unit's MOP, press the Go to MOP 2/4 button. Logistics units that remain in persistent contaminated areas will lose valuable supplies and resupply capability each turn that they remain in the contaminated area. Units in MOP 4 will move slower and fight less effectively than units in MOP 2. Okay? Note, check wind direction and estimate wind drift prior to employing non-persistent chemical agents to prevent friendly losses. It's a good idea. Okay. Change unit MOP status. On the toolbar, click the Go to MOP 2/4 button. Looks like a soldier. The MOP 2 button will change to the MOP 4 button with the gas mask, indicating the unit is in MOP 4. To switch back, simply click the MOP2/4 button again. Logistics units that remain in persistent contaminated areas will lose valuable supplies and resupply. Okay, this is exactly this. So clearly the guy, there's issues in the manual. Yeah. He needed to have more people proofread this. Okay, 288, psychological warfare. PsyOps combat takes place during the C4 ISR game phase. Okay. Units that are affected adversely by these attacks will suffer a reduction in movement and or combat capability for the remainder of the turn. Okay. PsyOps effects degrade the morale of enemy units within the range of their effects. Okay. PsyOps units broadcast signals that can be intercepted and jammed by enemy IEW units. Consequently, PsyOps units are vulnerable whenever they are active. Okay. To activate or inactivate a PsyOps unit, access the unit's orders menu and select the desired status. Okay. Activate PsyOps unit. Click on the desired PsyOps unit. 2. On the toolbar, click on the blue or red Unit Status Report button. 3. To activate a unit, click Activate. Where's that? Oh, here. Active. To deactivate it, click Deactivate. Close the Unit Status Report window. This completes the process. So it's not a button. It's a... what's the word for this? My brain. Can't remember the word for this way of interacting. It's like a toggle. But I get it. Okay. I get it. But I don't know what the range is. Does it... Maybe it has the range as like a weapon range with the red line, red circle. Okay, 289. How much? What else we got here? Oh, we're close to the end. Okay. Yeah, we'll just read the rest of section 2, and then maybe I just want to read these other sections too. Well, I'll do this in a separate video. Okay, 289. Intelligence and electronic warfare. A. General. Intelligence is gained from several different sources: named areas of interest, IEW units, and other units. By clicking on a visible enemy unit, you may gain valuable information about it. The amount of information that you are able to access about an enemy unit depends on how many sensors, units, or NAI have acquired it. Whoops. B. NAI. The intelligence modeling of named areas of interest represent the myriad of sensors that are available to a division or corps commander and permits the collection of PIR. Don't know what PIR stands for. Let's look it up on Google. PIR, military acronym. Priority intelligence requirement. Does that sound right? Priority intelligence requirements refer to the most important information needed to make intelligence-based decisions. Okay, this is looking like what it stands for. Okay. Well, why is it called requirement? Requirement sounds like it's something that you want to know about, but not like the actual intelligence itself. Looking at this article, it's like a report someone wrote. Trying to get a sense of how this is used. Oh, just ask ChatGPT. What is a PIR in the Army? It's a need, yeah. Well, what do you mean collection of PIR? So is PIR referring to the both? I guess PIR can refer to both the requirement, the request, and also the result of the request. That's what it's sounding like. Just a second. Okay. Oh, sorry. Okay. NAI, the intelligence modeling of named areas of interest represent the myriad of sensors that are available to a division or corps commander and permits the collection of PIR, priority intelligence requirements? Yeah, priority intelligence requirements without becoming bogged down with the high level of detail associated with the management of a collection plan. Enemy units will become visible when their center of mass passes through the area that the friendly NAI covers. NAI become active one game turn after they are emplaced. The time delay in NAI reactivation represents the loss of intelligence coverage as sensors are reoriented to cover a new NAI. Got it. I want to know how big these are, though. Doesn't say. I will find out, I guess. The time delay in NAI reactivation. Okay. IEW unit operations. Okay, so it sounds like you can move these. You can move these from turn to turn. That's interesting. IEW unit operations. For a more detailed level of intelligence modeling, players may want to build IEW units in their scenarios. Okay. IEW units provide the player with two capabilities, interception and direction finding, and active jamming. Each of these capabilities has advantages and limitations that can affect the nature of the tactical operation. To adjust the status of IEW operations, access the unit's orders menu and select the desired status. Okay, what is interception and direction finding? And what is active jamming? Well, I know what active jamming is, but what unit is it used against? And what is interception and direction finding? That sounds like something you'd use for... Yeah, I don't know. Okay, 1. Collection. IEW units that are placed in the collection mode will attempt to intercept and locate the source of all electronic emissions within their collection range. Identified enemy transmissions can be accessed during the planning phase by pressing the Intercepts button beneath the message box. EW intercept icons will appear where the intercept occurred during the last game turn. Select a message to identify its location, or click on the icon to read the associated message. Okay. Got it. Note, for players who do not want to analyze the detailed information that results from the intercepts, they can access the menu bar and press Options, ELINT Modeling, and Simple Model. When the simple ELINT model is used, enemy units detected from IEW operations will be immediately spotted. Okay. Intercept messages and graphics will not be displayed when the simple ELINT model is used. Okay. Got it. 2. Jamming. Successful jamming degrades enemy unit performance by increasing suppression. However, jamming is very susceptible to direction finding and could lead to artillery or air attacks. Okay. Got it. Enemy unit performance, like all enemy units or just air units? And why is it suppression that it's... Okay, it's confusing. Sure. D. Unmanned aerial vehicles. To employ UAVs, plot their movement as any other aviation unit. Their small size and signature makes them difficult for air defense units to acquire and enemy air to intercept. UAVs must pass directly over an enemy icon to spot the enemy unit. This simulates the UAV's narrow field of view and the requirement to be specific in their tasking. But it doesn't have to, it seems like it doesn't have to have a waypoint over the icon. It just needs to have its path pass over the icon. So you can set like a zigzag search pattern. Okay. I mean, what if you set like a crazy zigzag pattern over the entirety of the map? I hope it has like a limited movement range, movement speed. Anyway, assign collection or attack mission to an IEW unit. Click on the desired IEW unit. On the toolbar, click on the blue or red Unit Status Report button. Click on, where's that? Here. Then from the drop-down list, select the desired mission, collection, or attack. Got it. Close the Unit Status Report window. This completes the process. Got it. 2810, Engineer Operations. A. General. Two types of units in Decisive Action conduct mobility and survivability operations. Engineer and NBC smoke units. Okay. Careful use of these assets can increase the survivability of friendly units by helping to conceal them from observation or protect them from enemy fires. Okay. Mobility of friendly units can be improved by using engineer units to reduce obstacles or emplace bridges. Engineers can impair the mobility of enemy units by emplacing obstacles or demolishing bridges. Okay. B. Mobility survivability planning. 1. Combat engineer units. Combat engineer units can build obstacles, fortifications, and have enhanced capabilities to breach enemy obstacles and demolish bridges. Okay. Note 1. Ground maneuver units can reduce obstacles or demolish bridges with a reduced capability. Okay. Note 2. Units are more vulnerable to attack while on a bridge or obstacle square. Okay. This is making me think like if you're setting up a defensive unit, you could have the edge of its footprint right on top of a bridge. So as soon as the unit gets onto the bridge, it initiates combat. Anyway, note 3. Obstacles are neutral and can affect either side. However, movement through friendly obstacles is easier. Units must move through the square containing a friendly obstacle in order to be affected by it. must move through the square containing a friendly obstacle in order to be affected by it. Enemy units merely need to touch the obstacle with the icon in order to be affected by the obstacle. So it's not the footprint. So when you're dealing with obstacles, you're not considering the entire footprint of the unit. It's just the icon. That's weird. That means that the size of the icon is significant, which I've never seen before in a game. But okay. Okay. Note 4. When an engineer unit is attached to a unit, I'm going to write these weird things down as I find them because I want to write them down. Let's see. The unit size is significant because it's used to determine if the unit is going through an obstacle. Okay. 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 Note 4. When an engineer unit is attached to a unit, the parent unit gains the capabilities of the engineer unit. Oh, that's cool. 2. Engineer bridge units. Certain engineer units are equipped with bridges that can be used to span rivers. Okay. To plan the erection of a bridge, plot the movement of the engineer bridge unit across the river at the desired crossing site. Ensure that the site is located along a straight line of river squares, or more than one bridge span may be needed. Okay, got it. 3. NBC smoke units. To activate smoke, select the appropriate option button within the unit orders menu of the smoke unit. Smoke provides survivability benefits to all units whose footprints overlap with the smoke plot. Interesting. Okay. Even if it just overlaps a little bit? Smoke drifts from the NBC smoke unit downwind for a specified distance. Smoke will only be visible to the enemy if it is spotted by intelligence assets or enemy movement. Okay. The smoke itself or the smoke unit? Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay, obstacle/fortification construction and bridge demolition. I think that means the smoke itself. Anyway, 1. Position the friendly unit so that its footprint covers the designated area. Oh, there's 2 red lines. So I guess that entire segment is the front of the unit. Okay, well, what's the designated area? 2. Press the appropriate button on the toolbar, minefield, fortification, or bridge demolition, and follow the directions. Obstacles and demolition missions take 1 turn to complete, so that's 2 hours, and fortifications take 3 turns to complete, 6 hours. 3. Obstacle and bridge demolitions can take place in any square that is within the engineer unit footprint. Fortifications are constructed within the square that the engineer unit resides, so the very center. Okay. This completes the process. Got it. Obstacle reduction. Plot a route across or close to the obstacle. Okay. Across or close to the obstacle. As the unit moves through the obstacle, it will stop and attempt to reduce the obstacle. The success of obstacle reduction is dependent on many factors, such as unit type, command and control, morale, etc. Units that fail to reduce the obstacle will continue to reduce the obstacle during subsequent turns. Okay? Deploy bridge. 1. Plot the movement of the engineer unit across the river at the designated crossing site. Ensure that the site is located along a straight line of river squares, or more than one bridge span may be needed. Okay? Activate smoke. Select the smoke unit. On the toolbar, click on the blue or red Unit Status Report button. Select On. Okay? Close the Unit Status Report window. Okay, got it. This is not that complicated. 2.9, Logistics. Oh, I think I'm out of the 2.8. Oh, dear. I'm out of 2.8. Combat Modeling. So we just got Logistics, Command and Control, and the human dimension of combat. Okay, Logistics. A. General. Logistics are the lifeline of all tactical operations. A brilliant operation that can't be logistically sustained may become a disastrous failure. Decisive Action models logistics in a macro approach that focuses on supply. Okay? Each unit uses an amount of supply points each turn based on unit size, unit type, size, posture, and activities. Each supply unit can maintain a set amount of supply points that can be transported to supported units in logistics convoys. Okay? Supply unit. So a supply unit is not the same as a logistics convoy. Supply points represent all 10 classes of military supply, but primarily represent fuel, ammunition, and food. Players have a choice of allowing their AI logistician to conduct resupply for them, or they can manually direct logistics themselves. The default is auto resupply. Okay. Changes. 1. Supply convoys are now persistent. They are created using the unit editor, and they are only destroyed when the enemy units when enemy units fire at or kill them. When enemy units or fires kill them. Okay, got it. They are created using the unit editor. I don't know what that means. I guess that means like when you're creating the scenario. Okay, anyway, 2. Resupply is no longer automatic. The logistician must now designate when and how many supply points will be transferred to the gaining unit. They can resupply any unit whose footprint overlaps with the convoy. Okay. Likewise, they can upload logistics supply points from combat and other supply units. They can upload? What does that mean? Upload logistics supply points from combat and other supply units. I guess that means that they can receive supply from combat units and other supply units. Okay, so they can like trade. They can trade supply between, yeah, I get it. Okay, however, each convoy can only carry a set amount of supply. All supply units, including convoys, can now have security units attached to them to provide protection. This is done using the Attached Security Units feature. Only squad to company size units may be attached to a CSS unit. CSS. What does CSS stand for? Convoy Supply something. Let's ask ChatGPT. What does CSS stand for in the context of Army logistics? Combat Service Support. Combat Service Support refers to the essential logistics and administrative services that sustain military operations. It includes supply, food, ammunition, fuel, equipment, transportation, moving personnel and material, maintenance, repairing and servicing equipment, medical support, battlefield medicine, evacuation, personnel services, pay, legal, postal, religious support. Got it. Okay. Where was I? Only squad to company-sized units may be attached to a CSS unit. These security units will provide extra protection from ground attacks. The logistics management window for CSS units, such as an FSB. Don't know what FSB. Let's Google or let's ask ChatGPT what that stands for. What does FSB stand for in the context of Army logistics? FSB stands for Forward Support Battalion. The FSB is a logistics unit that provides direct combat service support to brigade-level forces in the field. Its primary functions include supply distribution, ammunition, fuel, food, and equipment, maintenance support, repairing vehicles, weapons, and other equipment, medical support, transportation, and movement control. The FSB is typically assigned to support a brigade combat team, BCT, and is positioned close to the front lines to ensure rapid resupply and maintenance. Okay. So it's a battalion. Forward Support Battalion. Forward Support Battalion. Got it. The logistics management window for CSS units, such as a Forward Support Battalion, differs from that of a convoy in that CSS units can select convoys for command and control purposes. Okay, I don't know what that means exactly. Convoys appearing in the subordinate convoys window, that's this, view the current CSS unit as their higher HQs. Okay. CSS units select their higher HQ by using the higher HQ function. Is that here? Higher HQ. Okay. I think I get that. I don't know what this is used for, but sure. Okay, next. 210, command and control. In decisive action, command and control effectiveness is a function of the unit's proximity to its higher headquarters. Okay, so this is just like combat mission and take command, second manassas, Scourge of War. They do the same thing. As a unit C2 level decreases, its mobility and combat capabilities are degraded. The proper positioning and displacement of command posts and the judicious assignment of units to a headquarters will ensure that Unit C2 is maintained at the highest levels. The current Army doctrine describes the use of 3 command posts for battalion to corps echelons: tactical CP, main CP, and rear CP. For battalion to corps echelons. I don't know what this means for the purpose of this game. Command posts. Positioning and displacement of command posts. I don't know what that is. It sounds like something I put on the map. Are they going to tell me? No. I'll have to learn more about that. Human dimension of combat. I'll write that down. What are CPs? What are CPs in decisive action for C2? Man, I'm starting to turn into the acronym. People say the military is crazy about acronyms. Okay. Oh, that's the last one. 211, human dimension of combat. 3 game interface. Oh, this is just changes, yeah? Game interface. Player toolbar. Oh no, this is more. Status report. This is more stuff. Fire support menu. Event editor. Menu items. Okay, that's confusing. All right, human dimensions of combat. A, morale. Morale directly affects unit performance during movement and combat. The levels of morale are very high, high, average, poor, and broken. Morale checks occur when units receive excessive casualties, are attacked in the flank or rear, or become the target of an effective PSYOPs attack. Morale checks also occur at the end of every game turn. Units that are well supplied and have a high command and control status are more likely to increase morale. B. Suppression. Suppression has an adverse effect on all unit functions. Suppression levels are none, light, medium, high, and very high. Units that receive high casualties, heavy artillery fire, or become the target of an effective electronic warfare attack are more likely to become suppressed or have their suppression increase. Okay. Electronic warfare. Okay, got it. Unit suppression can decrease at the end of the game turn if the unit has not been attacked and has good command and control status. Got it. If the unit has not been attacked. Okay, that's good to know. C. Fatigue. A unit's fatigue level increases as a unit moves, fights, or conducts engineer activities. Units that have high fatigue levels have reduced capabilities to conduct all activities. Helicopter units that exceed their maximum fatigue level, 21, will be grounded until they recover. The fatigue rate for helicopter units is greater while flying at night. Units that do not move, fight, or conduct engineer activities will have a reduction in their fatigue level at the end of every turn. Got it. Okay. That's pretty standard. That's how, Scourge of War works and combat mission. I think I'm going to go through this quickly because it doesn't seem... What's this? Instructor fires. Oh, allows an instructor to target units. Yeah, I'll go through this. It doesn't seem like it's that long. Okay. Game interface. Hot seat multiplayer host toolbar. Open scenario game. Load a new scenario. Save scenario. Advanced timer. Blue orders. Access the blue player orders menu. Red orders. Access the red player orders menu. New. Increase unit logistics. Increases unit logistic points. Increase unit combat power. Increases blue unit RCP by 2%, not to exceed 100% following conditions are met. Unit strength is less than 99%. Unit is not suppressed. Unit morale is average or better. I don't know what that does. Okay. Player toolbar. The player menu behaves differently for PBM versus two-player hot seat and player versus computer games. Okay. Advanced timer, opboard folder, activates the opboard folder. Use this to review your order for the scenario and friendly and enemy task organization. Next unit, last unit, unit editor. Activates the unit editor available only when editing or creating scenarios. That's what I thought. This or this, unit status report. Access the current unit's status report. Plot move. Plot a unit movement node checkpoint for the current unit. Move mouse to desired location and right-click to designate node. A unit's route consists of one or more nodes. To move an existing node, right-click, drag, and drop the node to its new location. Okay. Cancel move, face left, face right, orbit. Designate a movement node where the UAV or helicopter will orbit. That's good to know. Available only during turn 0. Magic move. Right-click on the map or another unit to immediately reposition a unit or another unit. Okay, this feature is only available during the game setup or within the game editor. Place unit off map moves the current unit off the screen and activates the unit arrival form. Use the up-down arrow to select the game turn of arrival for the unit and then exit the form. Follow the on-screen instructions to designate the arrival area for the unit. Okay, that's cool. Note, if you accidentally move a unit off map, complete the procedure and then use the magic move command to reposition the unit on the map. Okay, available only after turn 0. Plot target. After the mouse cursor turns into a crosshair, designate the target by clicking on the desired location. Cancel target. Click on the desired target to cancel it and free up the fire support resources for another mission. You must reactivate this command each time you want to cancel a target. Use this to also remove CFFZ and seed markers. Okay. Plot CFFZ, assign CFZ, place seed marker, assign priority seed, select pickup zone, select landing zone, graphics menu, change mop, build minefield, build fortification. Okay. Providing the player still has available obstacles, he can direct it. Okay. Providing he still has available fortifications. So that's a limited resource. They didn't say that before, I don't think. Okay. Find supply convoy. Locates the current unit's supply convoy and activates it as the current unit. If the current unit is a supply convoy and its supported unit has been destroyed, this facilitates the redirection of the supply convoy to another unit. Okay, that's important to know. Auto or manual resupply. When set to auto resupply, the computer automatically resupplies units that need logistics. Okay. WSRO, assign unit replacements. Don't know, they didn't talk about this. Sit reps. View all friendly situation reports from the previous game turn. Intercepts. View all enemy signals intercepts from the previous game turn. This feature only works if you have an active IEW unit that can intercept the enemy signals and ELINT modeling is set to detailed model. Sure. Victory status. Show or hide unit status box. Show/hide the unit status box, which contains a graphical depiction of the unit's most critical information. Okay, off, mesh, or solid. Show modified combined obstacle overlay. This displays the MCOO. This displays the modified combined obstacle overlay in one of two styles, or turns the MCOO feature off. Okay. So I guess this is an overlay that shows obstacles, all the different types of obstacles. But which color represents which obstacle? I don't think they talked about that. Adjust sound, help access into the image. Okay. Cool. Opboard. 1. Opboard displays the friendly operations order. Order of battle displays the current ID, task organization, and strength of the red and blue forces. Click on a unit ID or use the up-down key to display strength of information. File, open save, enabled for the scenario developer only. Okay. Graphics menu, plot NAI, plot TAI, select text line color. Click on color box to display palette. Click on the desired color in the palette. For clarity, the red player should use red for lines and text, and the blue player should use blue. Army Doctrine mandates the use of green for obstacles and yellow for NBC graphics. Black can be used for any graphic, provided the correct rules are adhered to. Plot line. To draw a line, click drag and drop. To move to the start point of a line, click on the start point and drag and drop the starting point to a new location. Place text. Click on the map, type desired text in text box, and press enter. Plot coordinating point. Click on the map to place the coordinating point. Eraser, click on graphic to erase. Available at the start of the game only, build minefield, build fortification, build bridge. Is that at the start of the game? How do I know if I have those available? I don't know. I'll have to find out. I'll have to try it. Okay, unit status report. Number 1, unit message box displays all current messages from the unit. 2, unit information displays the unit name and icon. Next last unit accesses the next or last unit. 3. Higher headquarters. Click to engage the unit headquarters. 4. Unit tactical operation. Not accessible for all units. Change the unit mission. Unit missions are offense. The unit assumes an attack posture. Combat units automatically assume this mission when directed to move. Hasty defense. Unit establishes a quick defensive posture. Ground maneuver units assume this posture after completing movement. Deliberate defense. Unit assumes a planned defensive posture that includes additional protective positions, protective obstacles not visible, and coordinated fire plan. Combat units automatically assume this position after remaining in the hasty defense for 6 turns. Okay, so that's 6 turns would be 12 hours. 6 times 2 is 12. Okay. Security. Unit establishes a security line to provide early warning of enemy attack and to slow enemy movement. Units assigned this mission will be less lethal and suffer less casualties than when conducting other missions. They will also be more likely to retreat after contact. Okay? Reconnaissance. Attack helicopters only. Helicopters in this mission will suffer less casualties and be less lethal as they are performing the aerial equivalent of a security mission. Okay? Note, when using this mission, plot numerous movement legs over the same area to replicate the movement of an aerial security mission. Okay? How do I know how many I can plot without having the helicopter run out of fuel? Okay. Anyway, withdrawal. Unit is conducting a retrograde operation under pressure. Units assigned this mission will be able to move and fight as they move away from the enemy. Note, ensure that the withdrawing unit has a plotted movement. Okay. Reserve. Assigned to computer-controlled units within the game editor. Units assigned this mission will automatically attack enemy units who are spotted nearby. Okay. Support. Non-maneuver units such as artillery, ADA, logistics, etc. only. Units assigned this mission will perform their roles when not stationary in a defensive posture. When not stationary. Units assigned this mission will perform their roles when not stationary in a defensive posture. Don't know what that means. Okay, 5. Where's 5? Unit combat power and strength. Displays current combat power and strength, 1 to 100%. Unit logistics status. Displays current logistics status, 0 to 100%. Command and control status. Displays unit C2 status and communications range to the unit's headquarters. Oh, that's cool. That's useful. 8. Unit morale. Displays the current unit morale status. 9. Bridging. Select yes if this unit has bridges, no if not. 10. Maximum losses. Maximum allowable losses before unit retreats. Okay, that's interesting. 11. Task organization. Where's that? 11. Oh, here. Right side. Okay. Attached units. Accessible for maneuver units and headquarters units only. Maneuver units. Displays those units currently task organized within this unit. Once task organized to the maneuver unit, the attached unit is absorbed into the maneuver unit, and the attached unit's combat power and capabilities are added to those of the parent unit. Okay, that's interesting. The attached unit disappears from the screen. Oh, interesting. Okay. Units that are attached, aggregated, will appear in the upper half of the display. Units that are attached, aggregated, with the upper half of the display. Subordinate units in the lower half. Okay. So a subordinate unit is still on the map. An attached unit is not on the map. I mean, it's like part of the parent. Okay, I get it. Interesting. Got it. Okay. The picture attached unit attachments.bmp is missing. Okay, this is clearly not correct. Note, to detach a unit, click on the ID of the desired unit within the task organization. Its combat power and capabilities are automatically subtracted from the parent unit, and the detached unit appears within the footprint of the parent unit. Okay. How do I set a unit to a subordinate? I see I can click the attach button to attach it. Can I click the subordinate? Is there a button? How do I make a unit subordinate? It's not clear. Detach unit. So maybe this only works for attached units. Oh, maybe I set the support. Maybe I do that with this. Maybe I go to the subordinate unit and I change its HQ. Something like that. That might be how I do it. Okay. Attach units. Click to access a list of units available to attach to this unit. Once the troop list is displayed, click on the ID of the desired unit that you want to attach. 13. Supporting logistics unit. Click to select the supporting logistics unit. Let me see that one. This one, okay? 14. Conduct resupply. Only available when manual resupply is in effect. Click to access the resupply feature. When manual okay. That button. Retreat route. If a route has been plotted for this unit, it will retreat along that route, okay? Available only to the host during a multiplayer game. Add to blue cop. Add unit to blue cop. Unit becomes visible on any blue client designated as a cop. What is a cop? What does COP stand for? Combat Outpost. Unit becomes visible on any blue client designated as a COP. That doesn't sound right. Let me go back here. COP. Nope. They don't define it. That's fine. Okay, where was I? This one? No. This one. Whoops. Selected unit types display the following menu types instead of the task organization item 11. Okay, well, they don't have pictures. That's fine. No problem. Okay, resupply menu. Not used in version 2.7. Sure, so I'll skip it. Fire support menu. Initial fire support menu. Select the type of fire support mission. Okay. Oh, that's don't know. Where's the type? Okay, 1. Field artillery. Displays the field artillery menu. Airstrike. Displays the airstrike menu. Cancels mission. Okay, so that's what you're doing. You choose either field artillery or airstrike. Field artillery menu. Displays available field artillery units based on selected munitions type. Okay, so that's this thing here. Only units that are performing the GS opportunity fire task in range, supplied, and do not already have a target will be displayed. Sure. Select munitions choice. Conventional, employ conventional high explosive munitions. Fast cam, employ family of scatterable mines munitions. Chemical, P, employ persistent chemical munitions. Chemical, NP, employ non-persistent chemical munitions. Artillery unit list. Click on the ID of the unit that you want to fire the mission. Sure. Event editor. Is this... this sounds like something used when creating a scenario. Yeah, this sounds like I'm not going to read through the scenario creation right now. I'll wait until I've played the game a bit. It's weird that they included that here. Okay. 3.9 Menu items. Menu items are listed are those with changes or new features. File, save JCOTS file, options, counterfire difficulty. Okay, detailed model. Player must manage the Q3736 counterfire radars. Instructor, fires, allows the instructor to attack targets with fires, does not require a firing unit. COP management. COP management allows the instructor to add some or all units to either side's COP. Units added to the COP will be visible on that side's map. Common operational picture. That's what that stands for. Okay, options, counterfire difficulty. I'm gonna Google, ask ChatGPT. What is that? What about common operational picture? What does that refer to? Yes, common operational picture is another important meaning of COP in the military, particularly in command and control and logistics. The COP is a shared real-time visual representation of the battlefield or operational environment. It integrates data from multiple sources to provide commanders and units with a single synchronized view of the situation. Key features of a COP: real-time situational awareness, displays friendly, enemy, and civilian movements. Integrated intelligence and logistics data, includes weather, terrain, supply status, and mission objectives. Shared across multiple units and command levels, ensures everyone is working with the same information. Uses digital systems and networks. Examples include the Blue Force Tracker, BFT, and Command Post Computing Environment, CPCE. The goal of a COP is to improve decision-making, coordination, and operational effectiveness by ensuring all units and commanders have access to the same up-to-date information. Okay. Got it. Options, counterfire difficulty. Simple model plays exactly 2x6, detail on, okay. Instructor fires, I don't care about that yet. Don't care about that. Design your, okay, so I'm gonna stop here. I'll make another video where I go through, the stuff at the very end. And then later, after I play the game a bit, I'll make another video going through section 4. But this is cool. I got through the manual a lot faster than I thought I would. This manual is much shorter than I thought it would be. So that's good. I feel like I understand the game more or less. Okay, so what I want to do now is I want to minimize this. So Control, Function, Alt, down. There we go. And then, yeah, it's good. Still. Okay, let's read this stuff at the end. And then I'll do another video where I read the design your scenarios. Oh, multiplayer hosting, what's this? I'm going to try this sometime. Okay, anyway, go to the bottom here. Designer notes. Designer's notes. All simulations reflect the intent, background, and biases of their designers. Good simulations, like all good tools, are designed for use by a specific audience to fulfill a specific requirement. Just as it is inefficient to use a hammer to drive a screw into a wooden plank, it is inefficient to use a simulation outside the scope of its design. Hopefully, by better understanding this design, you will be able to enjoy decisive action for what it is and overlook what it is not. I originally created decisive action as a tool to facilitate the instruction of core division tactics at the U.S. Army Command and General Staff College, CGSC. Tactical concepts can be difficult to grasp, particularly if the student has little experience. Gaining experience in division and corps operations is especially challenging since large-scale maneuvers, such as Reforger, are a relic of the past. Today, Politics, defense budgets, and environmental restrictions greatly limit the scale and frequency of large military exercises. Consequently, first-hand experience and an overall understanding of the nuances of operations at these levels is rapidly deteriorating. Other than the very infrequent use of relatively complex and high-end military simulations, CGSC students did not have an opportunity to fight the plans that they so laboriously created in class. Without an execution tool, student plans can only be accurately evaluated for correctness and completeness. Instructor opinions are often very arbitrary. Student learning is limited under these conditions. The discussion that results from the simulated execution of a student plan is markedly more beneficial to the student than the dry what-if type questioning that must take place if no simulation is available to test their concepts. Okay? Successful leaders use different sets of analytical and decision-making skills while fighting the battle than those used during planning. During execution, leaders must be able to rapidly and accurately visualize the battlefield. They must be able to quickly analyze complex situations and, with an understanding of time, space, distance, and capabilities, generate new options to overcome unforeseen problems. Unfortunately, speed of thought is usually at odds with quality of thought. Fog of war, stress, and fatigue all combine to reduce a commander's visualization and cloud his judgment. Okay. Although decisiveness is often the hallmark of a great commander, no one wants to fail for being too rash. Therein lies the rub. We would all like to have the complete set of information before making a critical decision. Rarely will we get it. A great decision made late is not a decision at all. A simulation can be a great tool for teaching these important lessons. If the simulation design is correct, the scenario is relevant, and the instructor is capable, a rich dynamic learning experience occurs. Lessons rarely end where they were planned, as the simulated battle often presents vivid learning opportunities that were unforeseen when it started. My initial goal in designing and developing Decisive Action was to produce a wargame that would help overcome the challenges of teaching tactics and to make learning more effective, relevant, and fun. The first version of the game was successfully used for 2 years. This version, the first commercial release, has been greatly altered to make the game more usable and enjoyable by a larger audience. Although there are more bells and whistles in this version, I have steadfastly tried to maintain the military flavor and significance of its predecessor. My primary goal now is to provide gamers the most realistic and enjoyable simulation of modern warfare at division and corps levels. Hopefully you will agree. Good luck and enjoy the game. Hints. Conduct cross-flot. What's flot? Is that in the glossary? Let's look. Glossary. Glossary. Flot. Oops. Flot. Forward line of own troops. A line that indicates the most forward positions of friendly forces. Got it. Conduct cross-flot attack helicopter missions during night turns. They are more effective and survivable against moving enemy units in unrestricted terrain during the hours of darkness. Okay. Whenever possible, attempt to engage targets in the flank or rear. Got it. That's a great tip. That is a great advice. And it's interesting that this is not what you see in Ukraine during the current war. You see a lot of footage of helicopters operating during daylight. Anyway, 2. Cross-FLOT aviation missions, attack or air assault, should be supported by an extensive IPB and SEED effort to ensure that the valuable aviation assets are not lost to enemy ADA. IPB, what was that one? I don't remember. I think that's Intelligence Preparation of the Battlefield. IPB. Yeah, Intelligence Preparation of the Battlefield. A systematic, continuous process of analyzing the enemy and environment in a specific geographical area. It is designed to support staff estimates and military decision-making. Applying the IPB helps the commander selectively apply and maximize his combat power at critical points in time and space on the battlefield by determining the enemy's likely course of action and by describing the environment his unit is operating within and the effects of the environment on his unit. But what is the unit, the IPB unit that they're talking about? I don't understand that part. Oh, IPB effort. So that might mean just what was it called? Named areas of interest, NAIs, and maybe also TAIs. So if you put the NAIs where you think the ADA is, then you might spot the ADA more quickly and be able to suppress it. I guess if I remember correctly, it's like if you can set the TAI where the ADA actually is, then you can hit it more accurately. You can destroy it. And whereas if you're doing just like reactive seed fire, then you can suppress the ADA but not destroy it, or something like that. Anyway, number 3, in accordance with U.S. Army doctrine, attempt to fight your opponent across the depth of the battlefield. Use your deep assets, such as attack helicopters, airstrikes, and artillery, to help shape the close fight by selectively engaging high payoff targets before they can close with friendly ground forces. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, I guess that's what they're saying. That's what they're doing with the drones in Ukraine, right? They're using the drones to go behind the front line, the enemy front line, and attack assets before they can reach the front line. Number 4, engage targets in accordance with a well thought out plan versus just shooting at any icons. Remember, a fire support asset used this turn may not be available next turn. Unmasking your artillery prematurely may lead to their destruction by enemy counterfire. Number 5, deception can be very useful in decisive action. If you have a good idea of how your opponent sees you, you can conduct a viable deception operation. By reinforcing his perception, you can misdirect him. For example, display components of the plan he thinks you are most likely going to undertake in areas where you think he will place his NAI to confirm or deny it. Meanwhile, prosecute a plan that takes advantage of the weaknesses associated with his reaction. Interesting. So that's like a great example of this is Operation Overlord. When they were invading Normandy or invading France, they put fake vehicles, like inflatable vehicles, right across from the closest crossing point, which is where they were trying to convince Hitler that they were going to land. I'm wondering how that would work in this game. Maybe you would put your artillery closer to a place where you think they think you'll attack, but then actually attack down a different route. Like I'm wondering how do you, or maybe you position your vehicles closer to a certain side of the map, and then you actually send them around a different side of the map. Interesting. It would be cool to have to make tutorial missions that teach these different tips. Number 6, accurate battlefield visualization is crucial to your success in the game. The development and maintenance of sound Commander's Critical Information Requirements, CCIR, is critical to success. Your visualization of the enemy will be reflected by the short list of PIR. What was that? That was PIR. Priority intelligence requirements. Those intelligence requirements for which a commander has an anticipated and stated priority in his task of planning and decision making. Got it. Your visualization of the enemy will be reflected by the short list of PIR that you develop and how you place your NAI to answer those PIR. Unlike most games that do not have hidden units, Decisive Action forces you to apply limited intelligence assets to finding those enemy units whose location and/or activity confirms your estimate of the enemy course of action, or whose neutralization or destruction, high payoff targets, is key to the success of your plan. Review your list every game turn and revise it as necessary. Effective use of CCIR will greatly increase your visualization and lead to better decision making. Number 7, as you review each BOS during the planning phase of each turn, evaluate how it can be synchronized to facilitate the achievement of the purpose of the force as a whole. For example, during the next game turn, what should be the focus of your fires? Support the close fight, attack the enemy across the depth of the battlefield, suppress enemy air defense, or attack his fire support assets. Interesting. Okay. How many we have? It's just this FAQ and then Tactics 101, yeah? FAQ. How long is this one? Why can't I break units up into smaller units? Remember, you play a division or corps commander in the game. You make critical decisions that affect your overall plan at a fairly high level. You are not supposed to become involved in smaller unit affairs. Instead, give missions to subordinate units and establish priorities. In reality, commanders assign a task and purpose to units one level below their echelon. For example, division commanders ordinarily assign task and purpose to brigades. They then allocate forces 2 levels down to build the task organization of the unit 1 level down so that it can accomplish its task and purpose. For example, the division commander allocates battalions to task organize each brigade for the mission. If you insist on managing minute details, create an HQ by building a shell maneuver unit and assigning it 1 to 2 RCPs. What's an RCP? For example, a mechanized brigade with an RCP of 1. What's an RCP? Relative combat power. Okay. The quantitative value of a unit's relative combat strength compared to the least effective unit of a like type, for example, 2 armor units, which is assigned a value of 1. In board war games, this is often called the attack defense strength of a unit. Got it. Assigning it you're assigning it an RCP of 1. Got it. Next, build subordinate units, in this example, mechanized and armor battalions. Then attach the subordinate units to the higher unit to create a proper task organized unit. Number 2, why are maintenance, medical evaluation, and replacements not modeled in Decisive Action? Logistics operations at the division and corps level are very detailed. the logistics modeling was deliberately kept simple so players could easily manage logistics operations without sacrificing the importance of logistics. Don't worry, you will have your hands full managing logistics as it is played. If you want to increase the difficulty level, switch to manual resupply. Number 3. If the unit is considered dispersed inside of its footprint, how can I target it to get the most effect from airstrikes and artillery? Artillery is equally effective against a unit anywhere within its footprint. Oh, that's very interesting. That's why you often see several units report losses from one artillery strike, part of the risk of massing forces. Proximity to a TAI doubles artillery as well as CAS as attack helicopter effectiveness. Oh no, proximity to a TAI doubles artillery as well, and CAS as attack helicopter effectiveness. That does not seem like a correct sentence. Units that are hidden suffer minimal losses since they have not been observed. Number 4. Does unit facing in decisive action affect the combat results? Unit facing matters during combat. It affects the attack and defensive strengths of the unit. A unit that is attacking a defender from the rear has its base attack strength multiplied by 1.5 for the maneuver advantage alone. Moreover, rear and flank attacks automatically cause a morale check. Number 5. Are there an ideal number of units per side? It's a matter of opinion. You can create a maximum of 200 units per side in decisive action. I recommend that 50 be the limit for 2 reasons. First, I believe that 50 units is the maximum playable number of units for an average player to manage. More than that becomes an exercise in micromanagement instead of battlefield command. Secondly, you need available slots for the creation of supply convoys. If you fail to leave adequate spaces, you effectively limit your ability to resupply. Number 6. Can I play battalion and brigade level scenarios with decisive action? Decisive action is a division or corps level simulation. If you play other levels, I suspect that you won't be happy. The time and terrain scale and the combat model is designed for the higher level. Too much happens at the brigade and battalion level within a 2-hour period. Also, I believe the lower levels are best modeled using line-of-sight engagement models. Number 7. Can military staffs use decisive action to analyze military course of actions? Decisive action was not designed for this purpose. Number 8. Where can I find maps to build my own scenarios? There are numerous resources for finding maps. Surf the internet, use scanned images, or draw your own using art software. Ensure that you observe copyright laws. Number 9. Can I build units not contained in the included database? Yes, follow the directions contained in the section covering the unit editor. Number 10. Why can't my artillery shoot a fire mission? Check to make sure your artillery unit is in range, has the task GS opportunity fire, has logistics, and has not already been assigned a fire mission. Okay. Glossary. Tactics 101. Tactics. Art by which leaders arrange forces and actions on the battlefield in time, space, and purpose in order to translate potential combat power at the decisive time and place. Tactical art involves moving forces to gain a position of advantage, applying all available combat support means to facilitate and exploit that positional advantage, sustaining units before, during, and after combat. The goal of tactics is to focus the effects of the 7 BOS: maneuver, fires, air defense, intelligence, command and control, logistics, mobility and survivability at the decisive place and time on the battlefield. Principles of war. Objective: direct every military operation toward a clearly defined, decisive, and obtainable objective. Offensive: seize, retain, and exploit the initiative. Mass. Mass the effects of overwhelming combat power at the decisive place and time. Economy of force. Employ all combat power available in the most effective way possible. Allocate minimum essential combat power to secondary efforts. Maneuver. Place the enemy in a position of disadvantage through the flexible application of combat power. Unity of command. For every objective, seek unity of command and unity of effort. These are kind of hard to understand, but security. Never permit the enemy to acquire unexpected advantage. Surprise. Strike the enemy at a time or place or in a manner for which he is unprepared. Simplicity. Prepare clear, uncomplicated plans and concise orders to ensure thorough understanding. Tenets of U.S. Army operations. The tenets are basic truths held by the U.S. Army. The tenets in and of themselves do not guarantee victory, but their absence makes it difficult and costly to achieve. Initiative. Sets or changes the terms of battle by action and implies an offensive spirit in the conduct of all operations. It's kind of hard to understand what these mean. Agility. The ability of friendly forces to react faster than the enemy, and is a prerequisite for seizing and holding the initiative. Depth. The extension of operations in time, space, resources, and purpose. Synchronization. The arranging of activities in time and space to mass at the decisive point. Versatility. The ability of units to meet diverse mission requirements. Commanders must be able to shift focus, tailor forces, and move from one role to another rapidly and efficiently. This is hard to understand. It's very vague. Yeah, there's military references. Okay, so that's basically it. I'm not going to go through the glossary. Yeah, and then I'll do another video where I go through this section, design your own scenarios, because I think this is useful for creating tutorials for myself, like simple scenarios for me to get the hang of how to control things, how to control units and how the units behave. But yeah, it's cool. Let me see, how do I turn this off? Go here. Okay, I'm going to quickly read the design your scenarios section because I have found myself using it to create simple tutorial like, well, I mean, I created one. I created a simple tutorial like scenario where I was just moving a single platoon, a recon platoon across the map to an objective. And I'm going to keep creating more scenarios to get familiar with how everything works. So design your own scenarios. Decisive Action contains a powerful game editor that allows users to modify existing scenarios or build their own from scratch. To ensure success, adhere to the following steps when creating a new scenario. The 11 steps needed to build a scenario from scratch are: number 1, before you begin, develop a general scenario concept. Select a map area, orders of battle, missions, etc. Determine if the game will be a two-player game, a computer versus a single-player game, or both. Remember play balance as you create your scenario design. It's no fun to play an impossible to win game. Play balance can be achieved through a combination of force ratios, total blue combat power as opposed to total red combat power, mission assignments as written in the op board, resource allocation, scenario editor, objective placement and values, MCOO editor, okay, selected terrain, positioning of forces, game length, scenario editor, and key scenario information, counterfire accuracy, maximum losses, etc., scenario editor. Number 2, access the scenario editor and enter all of the scenario concept details. Be sure to write the abbreviated operations orders for both players using the opboard editor. Number 3, if you did not choose an existing map from the map database, import a map and digitize the terrain, make a COO. To prevent frustration, you should experiment with the map image size and quality before digitizing the terrain. Number 4, optional. If you imported your own map, use the lat-long editor to enter the latitude and longitude of 2 known points. And by the way, I found already that if you start this, if you click this button to, oh no, it's not the lat-long editor, it was another one. Like I started one, I clicked the button, I kind of like canceled out of it, and then it crashed the scenario. I couldn't open the scenario anymore. So you have to be careful. There's ways you can like shoot yourself in the foot. Note, there is no procedure for inputting a UTM grid on a user imported map. Number 5, using the graphics menu, apply operational graphics for both sides. Use the correct colors for phase lines, boundaries, and text. Blue is blue, red is red. Number 6, analyze the existing terrain. Using the MCOO editor, designate objectives, key terrain, and mobility corridors. Transform the COO into an MCOO. I don't know what that means. COO, a combined obstacle overlay. An overlay that combines the various terrain analysis products and depicts the effects of vegetation, elevation, drainage, etc. on mobility. Terrain classification, unrestricted. Units moving across unrestricted terrain can do so without any restriction to movement. Restricted terrain. Restricted terrain hinders movement to some degree and forces units to periodically adjust their speed or tactical formation in order to maneuver through rougher or denser terrain. Severely restricted. Severely restricted terrain severely hinders or slows movement in combat formations unless some effort is made to enhance mobility. Okay, what's an MCOO? Mission, no, that's not it. MC, mobility corridor. Areas where a force will be canalized due to terrain restrictions. Oh, MCOO. Modified combined obstacle overlay. A product used to depict the battlefield's effects on military operations. It is normally based on a product depicting all obstacles to mobility, modified to also depict the following, which are not prescriptive or inclusive. Cross-country mobility classifications, for example, restricted, objectives, avenues of approach and mobility corridors, likely locations of counter-mobility obstacle systems, don't know what that means, just obstacles, defensible terrain, likely engagement areas, key terrain. Okay. COO. Vegetation, elevation, drainage, etc. Okay, I think I understand. To prevent frustration, did I? Yeah, I did. To prevent frustration, balance is critical. If you assign too many of these features, the computer opponent will become confused. If you assign too few, the computer opponent will have weak analytical skills. Number 7. Okay, so this is to help the AI. Number 7. Use the unit editor to build both orders of battle. Okay. Number 8. Place each unit. Use the Orders menu to task organize, assign headquarters, logistics support, and tactical operations to each unit. Orient the unit so that it faces the correct direction. Although these actions can be time-consuming, it is critical. Failure to do so will result in units operating without HQs, orders, etc. Use the move off map command to schedule the arrival and location of reinforcements that will arrive after the game begins. Number 9. Using the graphics menu, emplace obstacles, fortifications, mobile bridges, NAI, TAI for both sides. Number 10. If the AI opponent is going to maneuver, use the march objective commands within the player menu to designate the initial and final march objectives of each maneuvering unit. March objectives are the intended movement areas for the unit. They do not have to coincide with a game objective. Okay. During gameplay, at the beginning of each turn, the AI commander will determine the best route for each unit to take to the next march objective. So does that mean you can have more than one march objective? Not sure. Number 11. Play test the game several times as each side to determine the quality of the scenario. The best way to evaluate the computer opponent behavior is to play the game initially against the computer with little or no human player interaction. Make changes as needed and replay until you are satisfied the game is properly balanced. Okay? Note, before building a scenario from scratch, users should experiment by modifying existing scenarios first. Okay? 4.1, Game Menu Editor. Open, save, scenario editor. So the scenario editor just gives you, I've already messed around with this a little bit. Scenario editor gives you like top level information about the scenario, like, you know, the air superiority and how many turns it is. I think the name of the person who created the scenario. So it's like meta information, sort of. Import map. Load a new map for scenario development. The map file must be either a BMP or a JPEG image. After the map is loaded, the player can follow the on-screen instructions to determine the map scale. Map Scale Editor allows the user to calibrate the map image to a map scale where 1 square equals 1 kilometer. This is what had me break a scenario I was working on. I clicked this button and I didn't enter. So the way this button works is you click on 2 points on the map, and then you have to enter the number of kilometers between those 2 points. And I clicked 2 times on the map, and then for the number of kilometers, I just left it as 0. I think I hit the X button to close out the window. And so next time I tried to open the scenario, it crashed. And I don't know for sure what caused it to crash, but my suspicion is that this is what caused it to crash. So basically, if you're going to be working on a scenario, you want to make frequent backups, frequent saves as separate files, so that if something totally breaks, you'll have older versions of the file to work from. Anyway, Terrain Editor. Edit the terrain and save the digitized terrain database. Latitude, Longitude Editor. Input the map latitude and longitude information into the scenario database. Okay. MCOO Editor. Okay. Blue player menu, red player menu, help, and exit to main menu. 4.2, Scenario Editor. This is what I was talking about, the meta top level information. Okay, number 1, scenario author. No, number 1 is file. Number 2 is a scenario author. Okay, all the numbers are off. Okay, so this one, number 2, is a scenario author. Change the scenario author's name if you are creating a new scenario. Map database. If you want to use an existing terrain database, select it from the map database. Game scenario. Select the game scenario type, red attack or blue attack. This is required for computer versus player games. Environment conditions. Adjust the environmental information such as wind direction, date, time of the game, and lighting conditions. Before morning nautical twilight, this one, BMNT, is when the sky lightens in the morning, and end of evening nautical twilight, EENT, is when the last light of the day fades. These are the military definitions of night and day versus sunrise and sunset. Maximum number of CFZ. Use this feature to edit the maximum number of CFZ available to each side during the game. This will affect the ability of either side to conduct effective counterfire operations. Okay. Counterfire target acquisition. This is the percentage chance that each side will be able to detect the firing of enemy artillery. The higher a side's counterfire target acquisition, the more successful it will be locating enemy artillery after it fires. Okay. So number 7. This one, force objective. Select the force objectives, force-oriented, terrain-oriented, or withdrawal. This is required for computer versus player games. If you select force-oriented, the AI player will develop a plan that prioritizes the destruction of its opponent above all else. When the AI is given a terrain-oriented objective, it assigns a higher priority on seizing or retaining objectives. During a withdrawal, the AI attempts to break contact and withdraw off the map. Map withdrawal occurs when a unit that has been given the mission to withdraw ends its turn close to a friendly LOC. I still don't remember what... I saw that when I was messing with the editor, and I don't know what it is. And it's not in here. I think it's like line of communication, but I don't know what the effect is on the game. I guess maybe it's just used for withdrawing. I don't know. Maybe it's the withdrawal location. Anyway, maximum of it allowable losses. Where's that? Here. Enter the maximum losses percentage that both sides can sustain in order to meet their victory conditions. Victory points are awarded to the opposing side when a player exceeds their limit. The violation is cumulative. The more one side exceeds their limit, the more victory points their opponent receives. Air superiority. The percentage of air superiority reflects the ability of one side to dominate the skies. This affects the success rate of airstrikes and helicopter movements. Okay. Note, 0/100% doesn't mean that it is impossible for the weaker side to intercept an opponent or fly friendly aircraft. However, the chances of success diminish greatly at the two extremes. Okay. Number 10, daily airstrike allocation. That's this one. This reflects the number of airstrike sorties available to each side during a 24-hour period. When a game turn passes 0600, a new allocation of fresh airstrike sorties will be allocated to both players. Maximum number of NAI. Use this feature to edit the maximum number of NAI available to each side during the game. The completeness of your intelligence picture generally improves with more NAI, provided you place them wisely. Okay. Maximum number of TAI. This indicates the maximum number of TAI that each side can use during the game. Indirect fires, airstrikes, and attack helicopter attacks are more lethal against targets located close to active TAI. This allocation stays constant during the game. Okay. Maximum number of CFFZ. Use this feature to edit the maximum number of CFFZ available to each side during the game. This will affect the ability of either side to conduct effective counterfire operations. Okay. Maximum number of mobile bridges. This reflects the total number of bridges that a side can erect during a scenario. Existing bridges do not count against this total. Line of communication map side determines which of the 4 sides of the map, red and blue, derive their support from. Force Opward Editor. edit each side's op-ord so that the players understand the friendly situation, the enemy situation, the mission, victory conditions, and special instructions. I don't see that one here. I think he maybe moved that out of this window. Current airstrike totals. This represents the total number of airstrike sorties available to each side at the beginning of the game. Where's that? I mean, is he talking about another image now? No, it's the same image. Is it total airstrike totals or current airstrike totals or max airstrikes? Current airstrike totals. Okay. Got it. Maximum number of chemical strikes represents the maximum number of chemical strikes that each side can conduct during a scenario. Maximum number of obstacles. The total number of all obstacles, both air delivered and ground in place, that each side can deploy during the game. Okay. Maximum number of seed targets. Use this feature to edit the maximum number of pre-planned seed targets available to each side during the game. This will affect the ability of either side to conduct effective seed operations. Okay. Maximum number of fortifications. The maximum number of fortifications that each side can build during a scenario. Okay. Op-ord editor. With the op-ord editor, a scenario designer can create or modify the written information that is provided to the player in the form of an operations order. A template is provided to use as a guide. Although the content of the op-ord is up to the scenario developer, it is recommended that at minimum, the information provided in the template is included. Yeah, this is just like a simple text editor. I've messed around with it. Op-ords can be saved as either a text file or in rich text format. Pictures and information from other Windows-based programs can be pasted into the op-ord box. To perform this task, open the op-ord editor and the file that will serve as the data source. Highlight, drag, and drop the desired data from the source file to the op-ord editor box. Note, rich text files can be quite large. Okay. Importing maps. Press the Import Map button. Select the desired map image, BMP or JPEG, from the directory. Follow the on-screen instructions for determining the map scale. If you make an error, press the Map Scale editor and repeat the process. Terrain Editor menu. The Terrain Editor is designed to have the functionality of a typical paint program. Most terrain types can be applied using any one of the 3 drawing tools. However, bridges must be applied using the pen tool only. Okay, 3 types of drawing tools. I don't know what those are yet. Decisive Action terrain editing is based on step 2 of the intelligence preparation of the battlefield. Describe the battlefield effects. As a scenario designer, you must analyze the terrain using your best judgment of the terrain's effect on military operations. Designating urban areas is relatively easy. Distinguishing restricted terrain from severely restricted terrain is much harder. The development of a COO is as much art as it is science. Practice will make the process better. Before using the terrain editor, review the chapter on terrain modeling, the electronic copy of Chapter 2, Field Manual 34-130, IPB, enclosed on the Decisive Action CD and study the included terrain databases. Okay. Number 1, press the Terrain Editor button. Number 2, select the desired drawing tool, pen, line, or rectangle. Number 3, select the desired terrain type. The eraser restores terrain to unrestricted. Number 4, if desired, click on the name of the terrain type to edit the terrain name. Number 5, apply terrain to the map area. Number 6, when done, exit the Terrain Editor menu and save the terrain file. Note 1. Always distribute the map and terrain files to the appropriate file directories within Decisive Actions, /maps and /terrain. Otherwise, the map and terrain files will not properly link. Note 2. Immediately save the scenario file upon exiting the terrain editor to prevent loss of data. Okay. Pen tool, okay, line tool, rectangle tool. So I guess these are the 3 drawing tools. Restricted, terrain name. Click and type name of specific terrain type. This allows the user to name features such as urban areas and rivers. Erase terrain, unrestricted. So you're setting it back to unrestricted. Restricted terrain, severely restricted, impassable. Use this classification judiciously. Mechanized and wheeled units cannot pass through this terrain type. Overuse of impassable terrain will cause the computer-directed movement to malfunction. Oh, interesting. Okay. Urban terrain. Click to select urban terrain. River. Click to select river terrain. Care should be exercised when designating river squares. Try to keep the river only 1 kilometer wide and connect the river squares in a stair-step method so that the river is continuous. Okay. Bridge. Click to select bridge terrain. Beach. Click to select beach terrain. Deep water. Click to select deep water terrain. Okay. Note, to give the digitized terrain a distinctive name, click on the terrain label above the first row of buttons and enter the desired name. Okay. Straightforward enough. Latitude longitude editor. Press the lat long editor button. Follow the on-screen instructions for inputting lat long. Note, latitude is the line that runs east to west. Longitude runs north to south. Okay. Objectives editor. Assigning objectives, key terrain, and mobility corridors is an important step in building a scenario. These features can only be added once the scenario concept is finished and the terrain is selected. Through analysis of the COO and knowledge of the scenario, evaluate only the terrain that both sides will use and designate these critical areas. The finished product will contain many of the features of a completed MCOO. Note, apply these features only to the portion of the map that both sides will use. Excessive use of the features may weaken the quality of the computer opponent. Objective. Click on map to assign an objective. Key terrain. Click on map to assign key terrain. Mobility corridor. Click on map to assign a mobility corridor. So it seems like these are going to just be points that the computer is going to try to control. They're like a hint to the computer to try to control these areas. Unit editor. The unit editor is used to build, modify, or destroy all units except lines of communications. 1 LOC per side is automatically created when you opt to create a new scenario. An LOC cannot be modified or destroyed. Building a new unit. When you press the Build Unit button, an ADA battery is automatically created. Next, select the desired unit type from the unit database, number 9 below. Name the unit and change any attributes, for example, morale, that accurately reflect the unit's desired capabilities. Okay? If you want to create a unique unit not contained in the Decisive Action unit database, use items number 15 to number 18 to designate the unit description. For example, Iraqi Armor Brigade, unit type size, and mobility. Modify the other unit characteristics as needed. 15, weapon range, special capability, okay. 15 to 18, 15, 16, 17, 18. So it's just the weapon range and it's the combat power. Okay, interesting. Important. New construction is not finished until you take one of the following actions. Exit the menu, build another unit, or copy this unit. Okay. Modifying/destroying a unit. If you make a mistake or change your mind, access the desired unit using the next last unit buttons, plus or minus, and then press the Modify Unit button to access its attributes. If you want to eliminate a unit, press the Destroy Unit button. When completed, all red and blue units are placed in the upper left-hand portion of the map. They can be repositioned using the Magic Move command within the Orders menu. Okay. File. Okay, load a custom weapons file. Don't know what that is. Next unit, last unit, unit name. Another way to select a unit instead of using the next and last buttons. Okay. Modify unit. Access unit attributes for modification. Where's that? Number 5. Okay. Build unit. Access the unit builder and build a new unit from scratch. Copy unit. Destroy unit. Help. Okay. Unit name and unit icon. Click to edit. Double click to erase. The unit icon is automatically updated when the user makes changes to unit attributes. Okay. Unit name, number 10. And unit icon. Click to edit, double click to erase. Okay. Unit database. Select unit type and attributes from the existing database. Morale. Select the unit morale level. Okay. Combat power. Displays the maximum relative combat power of the unit at 100% strength. Combat power, okay. Relative combat power at 100% strength, okay. Current strength. Slide the bar, where's that? Current strength. Number 14. Oh, here, it's 100. Slide the bar to set the current strength of the unit from 1 to 100%. Most units become combat ineffective when their strength falls to 35%. The current combat power is automatically adjusted when the strength is changed. Maximum range in kilometers. Displays the current weapons range for certain unit types. ADA, artillery, attack helicopters, IEW, and PSYOPs units. Okay. Maximum range 15. 15. Okay, this one. Minimum range kilometers. Displays the minimum range for certain unit types. ADA and missile/rocket artillery units. These units cannot attack targets that are closer than their minimum range. The following 4 features permit user-designated units. Unit description. Type in the description of the custom unit you want to create, for example, Iraqi Armor Brigade. Custom or standard icon. Follow the prompts to load a custom icon. The custom icon must be located in the Icons folder in the Decisive Action directory. Unit type. Select unit type. Unit size. Select unit size. Where's that? 18. Type and size. Okay. Don't know what the effect of that is. Unit mobility. Select unit mobility. Foot, wheeled, tracked, or aviation. Sensor, not used. Unit logistics. Sensor not used. What does that mean? 21. Okay, that's weird that they have it there, but it's not used. Unit logistics. Slide the bar to set the current logistics level for this unit. Chemical munitions. Check the box if this artillery unit has chemical munitions. Use of chemical munitions is not automatic, even if chemical munitions have been made available within the scenario. Okay, if this block is not checked, the unit will never be able to fire chemical munitions in the game. Okay, got it. Bridging. Check this block if the unit has a bridging capability. Units with bridging capability can build 2 bridges. Note, it is possible to provide maneuver brigades a bridging capability. This abstractly represents the attachment of a bridging unit within the brigade formation. WSRO. Designate units that can be used as a WSRO unit. WSRO units can be used to regenerate combat power in another unit. Well, what does that mean, WSRO? I saw that in the game, but I wasn't sure what it stood for. And it's not here in the glossary. Okay, that's fine. Okay. Next, weapons editor. How many sections are in here? Oh, this is the last one. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Okay, weapons editor. The Decisive Action weapons editor is used to create or edit unique weapons files that can later be used to build special units in the game. Weapons files created and saved within the editor can be loaded within the unit builder. Okay. File. Select new, open, or save to create or access a weapons file. Get last next weapon. Weapons list. Select the desired weapon from the current list. Number 3 here. Okay. Build a new weapon. Number 4. Number 5. Delete a weapon. Number 6 is name, type, size. Okay. Mobility, RCP, max range, min range, blue icon. Select the blue icon file that will be used with this weapon. Red icon. Okay, so I'm curious to see if this could be used to simulate current drone warfare in the current war in Ukraine. I'm not sure if it can be because, as I'm reading this, I'm thinking if I model drones as like direct fire weapons like infantry, then they would probably take losses from enemy tanks, for example, that would be unrealistic. If I model it as artillery, they would not be able to, they might not be able to see enemy units at the ranges that they can actually see them. If I model them as like an attack helicopter, I would worry that it might be, not as numerous as it should be. Maybe attack helicopter is the best way to do it, but I'll have to play around with it. But yeah, this is interesting. All right, so that's the end of the section on creating a new scenario. I've already messed around with creating one scenario, but I want to keep making more to learn the various mechanics of the game. But this was I've now gone through the entire manual, so I'm ready to start actually playing scenarios, creating and playing scenarios. Very cool.